All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome back here to Weather on the Go, all your weather coverage. In today's weather live stream, we are going to be talking about a tornado outbreak that is likely to unfold on Tuesday today on May 7th and Wednesday, May 8th, tomorrow. So we have a couple more days of some very active weather, and we're going to be looking at today's outlook for severe weather, including the enhanced risk of severe weather. And I have to look to see, because the Storm Prediction Center is going to be updating momentarily on this outlook. So let me see if this is the newest update real quick to the outlook of severe weather today. And to make sure I'm giving you the latest information here. Let's see here. So thank you all for joining. If you are here, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe here to the channel. We have a video out this morning on the channel to talk about the severe weather potential that we go into this afternoon and evening. We also have a video coming out tomorrow as well, again, for tomorrow's outlook for severe weather. I apologize, folks. Here we're looking real quick just to make sure we got the latest information here from our friends over at the Storm Prediction Center for the latest outlook. So the newest outlook is not out as it looks like right now. We're waiting on the new 11:30 a.m. update by the Storm Prediction Center. So right now, this is the latest information so far that we do have. We have an enhanced risk continuing to be maintained across Indiana, west central Ohio, and getting into northern Kentucky, with a slight risk surrounding that into the southern Chicago suburbs, getting into places like Kankakee, down towards Champaign-Urbana, into the University of Illinois, down there toward Carbondale, the University of Southern Illinois, moving in towards places like southeastern Missouri into the foothills region, northern and northwestern portions of Tennessee. This does include Nashville up there toward Clarksville, Bowling Green over here towards areas south of Lexington and Richmond, and into Pikeville there in Kentucky. We have a slight risk of severe weather. That slight risk extends over there into West Virginia, into the Charleston, Parkersburg area, and then up there toward Akron in Ohio and even the Detroit area. So we have a large area of severe weather, and even outside of that, we have a dark green area of some isolated severe weather, places like Dallas, Memphis, over to Charlotte, the Atlanta metro area, Richmond, Virginia, the DC area, up there to Milwaukee, Chicago, and up close to the Twin Cities up there, even into Minneapolis, St. Paul. So we have a large area with the potential for severe weather today, and as soon as we get the newest update from the Storm Prediction Center, we will give you the latest information. This is the latest information currently that I do have for you, but the Storm Prediction Center is currently in the process of updating their outlook here at 11:30, so anytime now, the new outlook will be out. It could remain the same or it could change a little, and that's what we'll be waiting for to give you the latest information on that. While we're waiting for that, before we get into the outlook probabilities, because we're waiting on the new outlook, we'll actually just go over storm timing here for today. So if you guys are in the Ohio Valley, let's look at the latest HRRR model to show you when you can expect some thunderstorms as we go into this afternoon and this evening. So let's go here to the 15Z run. So as we go into this afternoon here, this is currently 11:34 a.m. Central Time. It's 12:34 p.m. on the East Coast. So you can see here, going into the noon time frame, it'd probably help if I had the composite reflectivity up, wouldn't it? All right, so here we go. Noon time frame. Storms already rumbling through portions of Chicago this morning, leaving some heavy rainfall behind. Some frequent lightning as well. I live in northern Illinois, west of Chicago, and we had a lot of very heavy rainfall around 6, 7 o'clock this morning. That moved on through, and finally starting to see pokes of sunshine poking out of the clouds there as we go into the afternoon, or closer to the afternoon here. That line of showers and storms is now making its way up toward Green Bay, already through Milwaukee, moving into southwestern lower Michigan. We have additional isolated coverage of storms up here into northwestern Illinois and southwest Wisconsin. These could pose a risk for some hail and wind as we go into the noon, 1 o'clock time frame. Same thing down here in central Illinois. Not too concerned about this, but I think hail and wind, 60-mile-an-hour winds and some quarter-size hail would be the main mode of severe weather back here, although an isolated tornado may be possible. We're still watching a weakening, arcing band of storms moving through, like I said, Green Bay, Grand Rapids, down to Kalamazoo, into the Fort Wayne area, down toward Muncie, and in toward Louisville here this morning, and that will be heading its way into Cincinnati. about the noon time frame. Let's go into about 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock this afternoon. Notice those storms that we were just mentioning up there in Wisconsin, northwestern, and even central Illinois. Those areas of storms will actually start to invigorate. Will start to get stronger as they shift eastward towards the western Ohio River Valley. And this is actually because of the atmosphere destabilizing across Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky here currently this morning. You have sunshine in some areas poking out from the clouds. That is allowing the atmosphere to become unstable and destabilize it even further. If you walk outdoors, for example, in Indianapolis or Cincinnati, Louisville, Columbus, up here toward Detroit, you're probably feeling that mugginess in the air today, and that is actually helping the atmosphere recover even from the morning storms here and to become capable of producing these supercell thunderstorms. So we'll be watching our folks over here into north central Illinois as we go into early afternoon. These could pose a risk for all hazards. It does have a threat for some isolated tornadoes just because of some of the semi-discrete nature of them. So our friends over here in the southern suburbs of Chicago, Joliet, down there towards Kankakee, into the Bloomington Normal region, back to Peoria there, really kind of around the I-57, I-80, and I-74 corridor here into central and north central Illinois. We'll be keeping a close eye on these storms. You can see some purples here showing up near the Joliet area. That indicates maybe a stronger storm cell that could produce some hail, some wind, and a tornado. We'll keep an eye on that. Still seeing some remnant activity early afternoon over here toward Detroit, Fort Wayne, and Columbus. That will clear on out. We'll have a period of a break of some storms, allowing potentially that sunshine to poke out from the clouds. And as we go into the 3-4 o'clock hour, notice what we see here. We see a lot of discrete storms developing all across the Ohio River Valley, and this is what we do not like to see. We like to see lines of storms for severe weather. We don't like to see severe weather at all, but when we see severe weather, we would love to see lines of storms. That way we typically would see more damaging winds versus a tornado threat. But with this setup here and the coverage of storms remaining more discrete, semi-discrete, this raises the tornado potential across this entire region for Indiana, for Ohio, and Kentucky. And that's why we have that enhanced risk here. And I'm continuing to refresh the page here from the Storm Prediction Center until they update that outlook. Still no update yet. Once we get a new update from the Storm Prediction Center, we will be going over the latest outlook. Thank you folks for joining. If you are new here, make sure to subscribe to the channel and press the like button down below. It helps to get more people engaged in today's weather event with the severe weather in the Ohio Valley. We're also looking at tomorrow and Thursday for severe weather as well. In some of the same areas, especially tomorrow. So we're waiting on that. But like I said, as we go into the early afternoon, we're watching those storms in Illinois. They'll shift east into the Ohio Valley. Pretty scattered coverage by about mid-afternoon, 3-4 o'clock here. As we go into the 5-6 o'clock hour, some of these storms, again, rumbling across portions there of Indiana into western Ohio. And honestly, today's one of those days where you just want to be weather aware anytime this afternoon and this evening. It's going to be a lot of storms going on here. And there's not really any organized like convective system, for example, to say, for example, Cincinnati's going to get hit at 6 o'clock. Well, I can't really give you an exact timing because storms will literally just be popping up all over the Ohio River Valley, the Tennessee River Valley. So at any point this afternoon and this evening, you could be under a severe thunderstorm warning or a tornado warning in your area, and you want to seek shelter as soon as possible in a basement for a tornado warning especially, or if you don't have a basement, the lowest, most interior room away from the outdoors as possible. You want to put as many walls between you and the outdoors as possible, in the middle of your home and the lowest point of your home as well if you do not have a basement. If you have a storm shelter, that's even better. And again, folks that live in the Ohio River Valley today, it's a great tool to have. You guys should have a NOAA weather radio. A NOAA weather radio alerts you for severe weather warnings. It should be calibrated to your area, so your county, for example. So if you live in, for example, Jefferson County, then it should be programmed to Jefferson County. So when Jefferson County, for example, has a tornado warning potentially today, then you guys are alerted that the tornado warning is in place for your county. So that's what NOAA weather radios do. It's a great tool to have. You guys should definitely have it. If you don't have it, I recommend that very strongly, especially during the peak of the severe weather season. So that's what we're seeing here this afternoon. Storms get going back to the west. We'll go back here and show you the timing again. We'll go to the start of it and go to the end. So around 1, 2 o'clock, so literally within the next hour, hour and a half, storms will start to become a little bit more aggressive over here in Wisconsin and Illinois. They'll be isolated. And then as they push east through eastern and northeastern Illinois and into Indiana and southwestern lower Michigan, they will start to become more mature. They'll start to become more numerous in coverage. But notice the scattered coverage here. This actually will enhance the tornado potential across much of the Ohio River Valley if you are in that enhanced risk area. So that is definitely something we'll have to keep in mind. So places like Fort Wayne or Indianapolis or Columbus up here, maybe even as far north as Detroit today, Cleveland, Akron, Dayton, Ohio, Cincinnati, Louisville, Lexington and Richmond, Charleston, West Virginia, maybe even as far east as Pittsburgh. I want you all to be on high alert today. If I named some of those bigger cities that you live next to or you live in, make sure that you are weather aware this afternoon for the potential of some dangerous storms. We don't like to sugarcoat things on here, folks. You know, when I use the word dangerous, I truly mean that these storms could pack a punch today. We have the threat for strong tornadoes, some hailstones over 2 inches in diameter, and some 60+ mile per hour winds with these storms. And again, I'm just going to refresh the Storm Prediction Center's outlook here. Let me go back to their homepage to see if it is out yet for today. And they just issued a new outlook here for the day today here. So let me see if this is refreshed on our page. And then we will look at the new outlook together here in just 1 second. But yeah, folks, if you are here, make sure to smash that like button. We have over 700 people watching. Thank you all. Hopefully everybody is having a wonderful Tuesday morning or Tuesday afternoon if you're on the East Coast. I really do appreciate everybody joining here. It really means a lot. The more people that are joined here on this channel to watch the live stream today, to get informed about severe weather, the better. We had some devastating tornadoes back here yesterday, unfortunately, across northeastern Oklahoma. I really do feel for the people over here near the Tulsa area, Bartlesville. We had a very devastating tornado yesterday and last night that did move through northeastern Oklahoma. That was one of many tornadoes that actually did occur yesterday. So my heart goes out to all of those folks out there in the plains, and my heart goes deeply out to those folks there affected by that devastating tornado in the Bartlesville area in Oklahoma and into Tulsa, as well as the Barnesdale area. So I really do truly feel for those folks, as they are going to be recovering for quite some time for those tornadoes last night. I saw some photos from those tornadoes. Unfortunately, a lot of damage out there. So hopefully we do not see a repeat for performance of that today. We're really crossing our fingers that today's threat is a lot lower, but you just want to be ready for that. So I'm kind of just waiting here on the new outlook for it to be updated here. The Storm Prediction Center's outlook, let's see. I don't believe they made any changes or very much changes here on the outlook. We're going to actually bring that up right now here on the Radar Omega app. And we'll see for sure if it is updated here. And I'm going to verify just to make sure everything's all good and it's all updated here just real quick. So just give me 1 second, folks. I appreciate your patience with me. Yeah, I'm just making sure that the outlook is the same. We want to give you the latest, most accurate information that we can. So I'm just double checking here just real quick. Sorry about this, folks. Thank you to WSC for the $10 donation. Thank you for what you do. Could you let us know what Clarksville, Tennessee should expect tonight and tomorrow? We have no basement or shelters and just went through a bad tornado a few months ago. Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much to WSC for the donation. You were really generous. I appreciate that. You did not have to do that. Clarksville, Tennessee for today. This is the latest outlook from the Storm Prediction Center, so really no changes have been made much with this outlook. The enhanced risk has been maintained across Indiana, west central Ohio, into portions of northern Kentucky. So if you live in Indianapolis, Cincinnati, Fort Wayne, Columbus, Dayton, Ohio, the Bella Fountain area, and then down to Louisville, you guys all have a level 3 out of 5 and enhanced risk is maintained today. So with the question about Clarksville, Tennessee, you are in a level 2 out of 5, a slight risk of severe weather down here just northwest of Nashville. You do have the threat for all 3 modes of severe weather. So if we look over at the tornado potential today, you have a 5% chance in Clarksville and within 25 miles of Clarksville of a tornado today. So make sure you are on high alert this afternoon and this evening. Wind threat for you in Clarksville, you have a 15% probability of winds over 60 miles per hour. And then looking at the hail threat for you, you could be seeing some quarter-size hail or so later on today. You also have a 15% chance of that. The more significant hail threat is further north into Kentucky from Clarksville, Tennessee. So yes, Clarksville, you are in a level 2 out of 5, so make sure you are on high alert today for the potential for some damaging winds, large hail, and a couple tornadoes possible. So those are the areas we're watching. Again, Indianapolis, Fort Wayne, Columbus, Cincinnati, Louisville, Dayton, and the Bella Fountain area there into Ohio. We do have an enhanced risk, level 3 out of 5 maintained for this afternoon and this evening by the Storm Prediction Center's latest 11:30 in the morning update here. So that's what we're seeing. We still do have a slight risk surrounding that for places down here into, like, for example, like we just mentioned, the Clarksville, Tennessee region, Nashville, into portions there of northwestern Tennessee. That extends into extreme northeastern portions of Arkansas. So just north and east of Jonesboro, that is up toward Cape Girardeau. You have a slight risk today. The eastern side of the metro St. Louis is also in that slight risk on the Illinois side. Up here towards the University of Illinois in the Champaign-Urbana area, you have a slight risk of severe weather. Down here into Mount Vernon, Illinois, up there into the Joliet area, especially Kankakee, Illinois. South Bend and Gary, Indiana, you are also affected by this slight risk. Moving into portions there of southern lower Michigan, the Lansing area, Kalamazoo over toward Detroit, especially the western side of the Detroit metro, you are in a slight risk of severe weather. Grand Rapids up to Muskegon and also Flint, Michigan, you guys are in a level 1 out of 5. You guys are in a marginal risk today. Moving further off into Ohio here, Akron down to Canton, into the Cleveland area, especially western side of Cleveland, into the Toledo area. You have a level 2 out of 5. You have a slight risk of severe weather over there. And then moving into West Virginia, our folks down here, we have the Charleston area up there towards Parkersburg. We have a slight risk of severe weather for you. And then eastern Kentucky here into the Richmond area and Pikeville, Kentucky, and eastern Kentucky towards Bowling Green and Hopkinsville. You guys are in a level 2 out of 5. A slight risk of severe weather. So, and then all the big cities in the level 1 out of 5, the marginal risk in the dark green, we have Charlotte, Richmond, into Virginia there, near Washington, D.C., just to your west, into the Pittsburgh area, up here into Milwaukee, Chicago, Rockford, Illinois, up there into Madison, Green Bay, La Crosse, and Prairie du Chien, Wisconsin, and then up there towards the Rhinelander, Wisconsin area as well, in the Northwoods of the state. And then moving down to the south here, we have Huntsville, Florence, all the way down into Birmingham, Tuscaloosa in that marginal. We have the northern side of the Jackson, Mississippi area in that marginal, as well as Tupelo up toward Memphis, Little Rock, Pine Bluffs, back into Dallas-Fort Worth, Paris, Texas, Texarkana, and then that even stretches back there into San Antonio and Waco, Texas. So we have a large area of severe weather today. I can't name every single city that is affected by the severe weather today, unfortunately. There's just such a large area, but I did as best as I can just now to give you the risk and the category of what your severe weather risk is for today, the probability anyway. Thank you all for joining. Let's see here. Yes, absolutely, Emmanuel. Yes, it just updated, right, exactly. So yeah, we're still in an enhanced risk there into Indiana. And it just updated, and it looks like most of everything stayed the same. It looks like actually, okay, so it just updated. Thank you so much for letting me know. I thought it was updated before. So yes, Chicago now. Yes, Chicago, Cook County, you are in a slight risk. And there's not too many changes, to be honest with you. Chicago, the western side of the slight risk actually has been expanded a little bit further west. That is actually in account to those storms that I was talking about earlier that are actually capable of producing tornadoes and some big hail. So let's look at the probabilities here. Let's look first at the hail threat. I think the hail threat's going to be pretty decent with these storms, and this has not updated on here yet, unfortunately. So here's the latest updated tornado probabilities real quick for you folks. If you are in a color here, you are in a risk for tornadoes. So if you live in Milwaukee, Chicago, Springfield, Illinois, St. Louis, the eastern side of the metro, Nashville, Memphis, Knoxville, Charleston, Pittsburgh, Akron, up there towards Cleveland, Detroit, Toledo, Fort Wayne, Indianapolis, Cincinnati, Columbus, and Louisville. You all are, and even Lexington, Richmond there in Kentucky, Bowling Green. You guys are all in a risk for tornadoes today. The greatest tornado risk is actually in basically the entire state of Indiana. The only area that does not have a 10% hatched risk for tornadoes in Indiana is Evansville. That is further off to the south and west. Otherwise, everybody else pretty much in the state of Indiana, the Hoosier state there, is under a 10% risk of some strong tornadoes. This does, like I said, include the Fort Wayne area down to Muncie, Indianapolis, and the Bloomington, Terre Haute region, and then over there into portions of Fisher, Indiana. And then if you extend that over into Ohio, if you live in the Bellefontaine area, Dayton, Columbus, down to Cincinnati there, even the Chillicothe region, you guys are in a 10% hatch risk for strong tornadoes. Again, when I say strong tornadoes, that means tornadoes that could be at least EF2 strength or stronger. And then that extends down there into northern Kentucky. So if you live in Lexington, Louisville, and let's see here if we get some smaller towns in here, Frankfort, Elizabethtown, Georgetown, you guys have a threat for a 10% area of tornadoes today. That could be strong tornadoes, like I said, EF2 strength or stronger. So that's the tornado risk as we go through today, the highest area of concern. Looking at the wind risk, they have pushed or at least expanded the wind risk a little bit further west, again, to account some of those storms igniting there, like we were mentioning earlier on in the live stream a little bit ago, that we're going to fire up in Illinois. That does take into account Chicago, into the Champaign-Urbana area, Kankakee, down to Mount Vernon, Effingham, down to Carbondale, and the eastern side of St. Louis there, Decatur. You guys are all in effect with that 15% chance of those 60-plus mile-per-hour wind gusts. If you are in the foothills region of Missouri into the Cape Girardeau area, you are also included in that expanded 15% probability for wind over 60 miles per hour. Clarksville and Nashville, you guys are also in that as well. So we're keeping a very close eye on our folks over there in the Ohio Valley, into the Tennessee Valley, in the Midwest. And let's see if the hail threat has been updated so far on here. And they did. So if you do live in Chicago today, yes, Chicago and Cook County, the entire area there, even some of the western suburbs, we'll zoom it in here and show you. If you live in Aurora, over there into Joliet, into Kankakee, even some of the northern suburbs up here like Evanston, you guys have the potential for some hail over 2 inches in diameter. So what does that mean? That is hen egg size or larger. And that extends into much of eastern Illinois, basically the entire state of Indiana. Outside of the Evansville area, you do have a threat for those 2-inch diameter hailstones or larger, hen egg size or larger. That would be extreme southern and southwestern portions of lower Michigan. And then that'll extend over to Columbus, Cincinnati, Bellefontaine there into Dayton. And that extends down there into Louisville, Frankfort, Lexington, and Richmond as well. Georgetown, some of those areas affected by that big hail. So that's what we're seeing. Those are the latest probabilities and categories for severe weather today from our friends over there at the Storm Prediction Center in Norman, Oklahoma. They do a wonderful job of their outlooks. We praise them for all their hard work. So thanks to everybody over there at the Storm Prediction Center for their amazing dedication of moving forward with forecasting the most accurate severe weather potential as they can. So we praise them over there for that. So thank you. Let's see here. Connie, thanks for joining. I appreciate it. All right, so we're going to go into questions now. If you guys have any questions about today's severe weather threat, make sure to ask them down in the live stream. We'll get to as many as we can. I can't promise you we'll get to every single question, but we'll try to get through as many as we can. If you do have a question and I don't answer it in the live stream here while we're live, I will definitely answer it after the live stream is over. So definitely make sure to press the comment section down below, type in your question, and I'll be able to answer it afterwards. I promise you that. All right, so let's go up to the question here about what do you think about Central Ohio tomorrow? So we're talking about Wednesday. We want to focus today on the here and now mostly, but tomorrow's threat for Central Ohio is currently a level 1 out of 5, a marginal risk. The Storm Prediction Center will be updating their day 2 outlook for Wednesday, May 8th at 12:30. They'll be updating this at 12:30. Yeah, again, Wednesday right now, we'll just look over here at Wednesday briefly. There is another tornado outbreak looming for Wednesday as well, so in some of the same areas. So if you are in an enhanced risk today in southern Indiana and parts of northern Kentucky, you are in an enhanced risk again tomorrow, including, again, Evansville, over here to Louisville and Lexington. So some of the same areas that are in that enhanced risk or so today will be in another one tomorrow. And that actually is a larger enhanced risk tomorrow, and I definitely think that there is a chance, potentially even today, that the Storm Prediction Center may upgrade this to a moderate, much like they did yesterday on their day 2 for the Monday's threat that we saw. That is possible. We'll have to wait and see what happens. And if that did occur, my best guess would probably be that they upgrade probably this area right in the middle here to a moderate risk if that did occur. But again, that's just speculation at this point. Will Chicago get tornadoes? Chicago today is under a threat for tornadoes. Yes, Chicago does have a chance of tornadoes today. You have a 5% chance there in Cook County in Chicago and the surrounding suburbs of a tornado. So within 25 miles of downtown Chicago, you have a 5% chance of tornadoes today. A greater chance of tornadoes in northwest Indiana. So if you move, if you go south of Chicago and then east into Indiana, you have a much greater chance. If you go west of Chicago towards I-39 and towards Iowa, you have a much lower chance of tornadoes. And same thing if you go north of Chicago toward Milwaukee, the chances will drop off there as well. Milwaukee and Madison, Wisconsin, up there in the University of Wisconsin, you guys are under a 2% chance of tornadoes today within 25 miles of Madison and Milwaukee. If you are here, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. We did have a video posted here today, so make sure if you are here to do so. I really appreciate that. A video was posted this morning on the channel. North Carolina won't see really any severe weather till Thursday. You guys will be fine till Thursday, and Thursday's a few days away, so we don't want to go that far out yet. We're still talking about today and a little bit of Wednesday. Let's see here. How about Memphis, Tennessee having a storm? I think there's a decent chance Memphis, Tennessee sees some storms. Again, we'll pull up. Let's take this off real quick, the outlook real quick. And let's look at the timing of the storms again for our folks that are just joining and have not seen the timing of the storms. So let's start back at early afternoon here for today. This is the latest update from the HRRR model. So this is about, this is like right now, basically. So this is what the radar could look like. It may not be exactly what it looks like, but it gives you a good idea of where the storms are right now across parts of the Midwest. They're pretty weak, okay? So what we're seeing here, just kind of dissecting it with you all, these storms out here, kind of an arcing band, a broken line of storms, those are leftover storms from our Monday night storms that moved through the plains and into the Midwest. That brought a pretty strong line of storms through Illinois, pretty strong line of a lot of tornado warnings in Missouri last night as well. I did see that. Behind that, there are more storms developing here back into Wisconsin, Illinois, and Iowa. Those storms will be capable of producing some severe weather. And the reason why the Storm Prediction Center actually expanded the slight risk a little bit further west toward Chicago and eastern Illinois is because of these storms that actually are capable of taking advantage of that environment that we have. Behind our first morning storms, we have a little bit of some clearing kind of in this area here, and that is allowing the atmosphere to destabilize and become more unstable. If you walk outside in Chicago, if you walk outside in Indianapolis, you're feeling the mugginess in the air. That is actually helping these storms back to the west become severe this afternoon. So let's extend it into the 1-2 o'clock time frame. Notice we got supercells starting to develop all across portions of the western Ohio Valley into the Illinois Valley as well. So we are watching these storms up towards Chicago as well, but we're also watching some supercells down here from around southern Indiana into western Kentucky and northwest Tennessee as well. So a couple different areas we're keeping an eye on here. And I can't really give you an overall like timing of all the storms really in any particular area in the Ohio-Tennessee Valley, because all the storms that develop today for the most part will actually be scattered. So they could happen at any point this afternoon and this evening. It's just the best thing to do, the greatest thing to do is to be weather aware all throughout the afternoon and the evening, because you may get one storm to move through early afternoon, you may have a break, and then another storm, a supercell, could produce severe weather again a couple hours later. That's just kind of the environment that we are seeing as we go into the evening hours here tonight. So again, we're watching supercells. The most concentrated area of that early afternoon will be into central and eastern Illinois, with that expanded slight risk further west, and then another concentrated area down here into the lower Ohio River Valley toward the Tennessee Valley there. So like southern Indiana, western Kentucky into northwestern Tennessee. And then as we extend the time out towards mid-late afternoon, 4 o'clock now, look at the storms just start to light up the radar. And it's not really like an organized mesoscale convective system. We're just seeing supercells literally just popping up all over the place. And literally all of these could be capable of rotating, folks. All these storms in this environment today across this region could rotate. So that's what we're seeing. That's why we have that 2, 5, and even 10% hatch risk for tornadoes. And the greatest tornado risk is going to be Indiana and Ohio and northern Kentucky today. So that's what we're seeing. 4 o'clock time frame, scattered storms all about. Going into the evening hours, maybe a little bit more organization. We're trying to see a little bit more of some lines of storms developing toward the evening. The reason why we try to see, or we're starting to see more lines of storms by the evening hours, is because that low-level jet stream is going to begin to strengthen. So what that does, it's going to organize our storms a little bit further. The low-level shear is going to organize those storms, and actually that could help to organize storms enough to produce tornadoes, even along a line of storms. So much like we saw in Missouri with tons of those tornado warnings yesterday and last night, we definitely could see that again into Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky. Very possible. Even with a line of storms, you could see those kinks in the line producing spin-up tornadoes very quickly. And unfortunately, some of those don't get tornado warned fast enough. So that's why we need to be weather aware all across this region as we go through the day. Let's see here. Any risk for Central Virginia? For Central Virginia, over the next couple of days, there is a very small risk, I believe. Today there for Central Virginia, you have a marginal risk. That's a level 1 out of 5 for your area there for today. So if you live in like the Richmond, Roanoke, Virginia Beach area, you have a level 1 out of 5, a marginal risk of severe weather today. Going into Wednesday, tomorrow, Virginia, you're also in a marginal risk. So you have a marginal risk back-to-back days. And then I guess if we can extend it into Thursday here, Central Virginia has the best chance of severe weather currently on Thursday, slight risk. So you have 3 days of severe weather potential in Virginia, with Thursday being the potentially the worst day for severe weather potential, with a slight risk on Thursday and a marginal both today and tomorrow. Greenfield, Ohio. So again, some of these smaller towns I'm not very familiar with, but that's fine. We will look them up, and we will give you the information that we have for you. So Greenville, Ohio. We're gonna see where this is here, and okay, so you're like Western Ohio. So let's look at the outlook for today for your area. You are, I believe, in an enhanced risk, and you are, so you're pretty much right in the middle of that enhanced risk, level 3 of 5 today. You're very much in the middle of the tornado risk today as well. You have a 10% hatched risk for tornadoes in your area. Into the Greenville, Ohio region, you also have the threat for significant hail. So hailstones over 2 inches in diameter. So that's possibly up to, golf ball, baseball size type hailstones today. And then wind gusts over 60 miles an hour. You have a 15% chance of that today. So that's what we're seeing. As far as Greenville, Ohio goes for tomorrow on Wednesday, you have a marginal risk of severe weather. The most intense, more organized severe weather will be further south from you, but you still have a level 1 out of 5, a marginal risk there for you tomorrow afternoon and evening. Let's see here. I see Sullivan, Indiana. So let's do Sullivan, Indiana next. Again, thank you, folks. We're doing live coverage, kind of a Q&A type thing here. So if you want to ask any questions about your city and relative to the severe weather risk today, tomorrow, or Thursday, we can answer that as best as we can. If you have any questions about the timing of the storm, certainly we'll go over that as well. We're here to answer your questions. That's why we're live here today, to answer as many questions as to inform you guys of what is happening here today. So you're in southwestern Indiana. So in the Sullivan area for today, you are under a enhanced risk of severe weather. You're on the far western edge of that enhanced risk that bumps right up to the Illinois-Indiana state line there. So you're in the enhanced risk today. Your threats are as follows: a 10% risk of some strong, violent tornado potential today. You could be seeing an EF2 or stronger type of tornado environment there. You could also see some 60+ mile per hour winds. You have a 15% chance of that today as well there in Sullivan. And then you have the hail threat is a significant 15%. So you could be seeing those hen egg size hailstones or larger there. And then as far as tomorrow goes, you are actually in a slight risk of severe weather tomorrow. So your highest risk is today. You're in a slight risk of severe weather tomorrow in your area. And actually, you're very close to the enhanced. You're basically on the slight risk, enhanced risk line. So whenever I tell people if you're on a line between a slight and enhanced, just consider yourself in an enhanced risk because it's relative to a 25-mile point. So that's what I tell people. Prepare for the worst, hope for the best, right? That's what we always hope for. We always hope for the best. Youngstown, Ohio. So let's look at Youngstown, Ohio. We got a question coming in for that. So again, folks, if you do ask your question and I do not see it in time or I don't get to it, make sure to just do so after the live stream is over. I promise you, folks, I promise that I will get to as many questions after the live stream is over today as well. We're going to be live here for a while still, but even after the live's over, make sure to ask your question in the comment section below. I promise, answer every single question you guys have down there after the live is over. So we're doing what? Youngstown, Ohio. So that is, let's see here. Whoops, did not want to do, not Youngstown, New York. A lot of Youngstowns out there in the United States. So you're east of Akron. So, well, at least tomorrow you're not seeing any risk for severe weather. So that's good. But today you are in a marginal risk. So you have a level 1 out of 5 there. You have a threat for tornadoes in your area. You have a 2% chance of a tornado today there in Youngstown, Ohio. The threat for hail, you have a 5% chance of some quarter-size hailstones or larger today, and you also have a 5% chance of some 60+ mile per hour winds today as well. And like I said, tomorrow you are in a general 0 out of 5 thunderstorm risk, so the severe weather is not in play for you tomorrow in Youngstown, Ohio. What about East Tennessee for today and tomorrow? So Eastern Tennessee, for today, you have a marginal risk. So into the Knoxville area, over here to the Gatlinburg area, Johnson City. That's what I was going to say. Johnson City, Knoxville, Gatlinburg, down to Chattanooga there. You guys are all in a marginal risk today. For tomorrow, you have a much higher chance of severe weather in Tennessee with an enhanced risk. I honestly do think that the enhanced risk will probably eventually take up the entire state of Tennessee tomorrow with what the latest data that I'm seeing for tomorrow. So we'll keep a close eye on that. But we definitely could have another tornado outbreak similar to yesterday for tomorrow across the Ohio-Tennessee Valley, back to the mid-Mississippi Valley, and even the southern plains. That enhanced risk tomorrow goes all the way back almost to Dallas. So it's basically almost to the West Virginia, Kentucky state line, all the way back to literally the northeastern side of Dallas there to like Paris, Texas. So we have a large enhanced risk into the middle of the country tomorrow. Crawfordsville, Indiana. Crawfordsville, Indiana. We do have, we'll look at that real quick. Crawfordsville. And I apologize, folks. I don't know where all these small towns are, as you should expect. I live in Northern Illinois, but I don't know where all these small towns are. So you're west of Indianapolis. For today, you have an enhanced risk of severe weather. You're kind of in the bullseye today, too. You're in the bullseye of severe weather there. You have a level 3 out of 5 on the risk scale. Tornado threat is 10%. You have a 10% chance of a strong EF2 or stronger variety tornado today. So make sure you are weather aware. Storms will be rolling through literally within the next couple of hours potentially and developing near your area. 15% probability of some 60 plus mile per hour winds for you. And we're also looking at the hail risk is a 15% hatched risk for hail. So if you live there into the Crawfordsville, Indiana area, you have all three modes of severe weather: damaging winds, hail, and tornadoes. And a strong tornado and some significant 2-inch or larger hail is on the table for you today. For tomorrow in Crawfordsville, you have a slight risk of severe weather. So you have a level 2 out of 5 tomorrow, and this does include the threat tomorrow of tornadoes of a 2%. So you have a chance of tornadoes today and tomorrow. Today is the best chance of tornadoes there in Crawfordsville. So that's what we're seeing for that area. Dayton, Ohio over here. So let's go into Dayton, Ohio. We haven't talked about Dayton yet. We actually do have let's bring this up real quick. We have a severe thunderstorm warning here around the Cincinnati area. So real quick before we answer your question about Dayton, Ohio, we do have a severe thunderstorm warning for 60 mile per hour wind and quarter size hail there for Cincinnati. So if you live in the city of Cincinnati, you're probably seeing some pretty strong thunderstorms moving through right now with 60 mile an hour wind and some quarter size hail and some very heavy rainfall as well. These storms are marching off to the east, and the movement on these storms are moving east at 35 miles per hour. So they'll be around producing some heavy rain there for a while. So we did want to note that there is a warning already. So that is the start of a very active day potentially today. Potentially a very active day today. Hey folks, if you are joining, make sure to smash the like button down below. As many likes as we can get, as more people that join. And also make sure to subscribe to this channel on Weather on the Go. If you subscribe to my channel, you'll get detailed, accurate weather forecasts almost every single day throughout the year. I may take a couple days off a year, but you guys get that right at your fingertips if you subscribe to my channel. Accurate weather forecasts. I cover southern Canada, the United States, and the tropics. Tropical weather season is coming very quickly, and we'll be doing hurricane live streams before you know it. So, all right, so yeah, Dayton, Ohio. Let's get to that here. So Dayton, you are in the enhanced risk of severe weather today. You have a 3 out of 5 on the risk scale. You do have a pretty significant threat for tornadoes. You're right in the middle of that 10% risk of some strong tornadoes today, EF2 or stronger. You also have a very significant hail risk. You could be seeing some hen egg size hail or larger. So that's the 2-inch hailstones or larger in diameter. And then your 60 mile per hour wind gusts there as well. So if you're in Dayton, you have all three modes of severe weather on the table today. Damaging winds up to 60, 70 miles an hour. You could be seeing a couple strong tornadoes possible, and also some very large 2-inch diameter hailstones or larger. And then tomorrow in Dayton, Ohio, you do have you're on the slight risk of severe weather. So you have slight risk 2 out of 5 tomorrow. So you have back-to-back days of severe weather there in the Dayton, Ohio region. Let's see. Storming in Hamilton, Ohio. Yeah, that's that line of storms moving through the Cincinnati region that's producing that warning down here for 60 mile an hour winds and quarter size hail that we're seeing currently. Yeah, folks, we're on the road to 100,000 subscribers. So if you want to help out in getting me to 100,000 subscribers, again, make sure to subscribe to the channel. We'll keep you covered all around the year, throughout the year for weather. Subscribing to this channel, you get accurate, detailed weather forecasts for your area as well. We cover winter weather, summer weather, whether it's a derecho, a tornado outbreak, heat waves. We do it all here on this channel, so make sure to subscribe if you haven't. Can you check out Lexington, Kentucky? So going down here into Lexington, we do have a threat for severe weather today. Into the Lexington region, you do have a enhanced risk of severe weather today. This does include the threat for some strong tornadoes there as well. You're on the southern edge of that strong tornado risk. You have a 10% chance of an EF2 or stronger tornado today. Looking at the hail risk there in Lexington, you have a 15% probability of 2-inch or larger hail. And then you also have a wind threat, 15% probability of those 60+ mile an hour winds. And then Lexington tomorrow on Wednesday, May 8th, you are also in an enhanced risk as well. So you have back-to-back enhanced risk days there in Lexington. So you want to be weather aware today, and you also want to be weather aware tomorrow there in Lexington, Kentucky. And that includes the Richmond area as well. Thank you all for joining. Again, this is live tornado outbreak coverage, answering questions here this morning on what you can expect throughout the afternoon, evening, and even going into Wednesday and Thursday. So Dustin's asking about Russellville, Arkansas. So let's look at Russellville real quick. We haven't talked about Arkansas, so let's go over here and look at that real quick. So let's look at Russellville over here. You are northwestern Arkansas. So let's go over here and look at your threat for today and tomorrow. So if in the Russellville area, you're between Fort Smith and Little Rock there. You do have a marginal risk of severe weather, kind of a lower end threat for severe weather today. I think the coverage of storms will be pretty isolated in your area today. We're not going to be seeing any widespread severe weather, but just a couple isolated strong storms. The tornado threat today is a 2% for your area, so you have a small chance of a tornado within 25 miles there of Russellville, Arkansas today. So be watching out for that. A tornado is definitely on the table. It's possible today into the Russellville area. Looking at the hail risk for Russellville, we do have a 5% chance of some quarter-size hail or larger, and we also have a 5% chance of some 60-mile-per-hour winds or stronger. I think Russellville, more of tomorrow will be your day for significant severe weather. Russellville tomorrow, along with about 80 to 90% of the state of Arkansas, is under an enhanced risk for tomorrow, and it's possible that this could get upgraded maybe to a moderate risk. We'll have to wait and see what the Storm Prediction Center says about this with their new outlook coming out for tomorrow on day 2, literally within the next 10 to 15 minutes. So we'll be live for that. So we'll stay live for that as well to give you guys the latest information. But yeah, Russellville today and tomorrow. Tomorrow is your worst day of severe weather. Tomorrow in Russellville, you have a 10% chance of a strong tornado. Take that back. 5% chance of a tornado in your area tomorrow there in Russellville. I was thinking about something else. My bad. You have a 30% chance of some wind over 60 miles an hour in Russellville tomorrow, and then the hail threat is significant 30%. That's what I was thinking of, the hail threat. So hail followed by damaging tornadoes and winds tomorrow is going to be your main threat there. I apologize. You have a 5% chance of tornadoes in Russellville currently for tomorrow. Let's see. Groveland, Illinois. We haven't talked about Illinois too much, so let's go over here to Illinois, to the Groveland, Illinois area. And again, folks, I'm trying to get to as many questions as possible. A lot of you here in the live stream, which I appreciate. I appreciate as many people in here so we can inform them as possible. But if I don't answer your question, make sure, again, after the live stream is over, we're going to be live for a while, but after it's over, to ask any questions you have in the comment section below. I'll answer every single question. I promise you that. So Groveland, you are in a marginal risk for tomorrow, or for today. You have a marginal risk for today in the Groveland area. You have a level 1 out of 5. Your tornado threat there in Groveland is actually, you have a 2% chance. So you have a 2% chance of a tornado within your area today. Your hail risk today is also a 5%, and your wind risk is 5% as well. So you have pretty low threat for severe weather. The storms are literally going to be firing up over your area within the next couple of hours. That's kind of your opportunity through late afternoon. After the late afternoon hours, your threat of severe weather will be over in Groveland. For tomorrow, Groveland, you're back in a marginal risk of severe weather. We'll keep a very close eye on you there. Could be seeing more threats for damaging winds and tornadoes tomorrow. Your tornado threat tomorrow in Groveland is, again, a 2% chance. So that's what we're seeing there in central Illinois. We have a very sneaky area of tornado potential tomorrow as well. Up here in like Des Moines, Sioux City, Sioux Falls, Fort Dodge, Iowa, Waterloo, back to Omaha. We have a 2% chance of a tornado there. Closer to the low pressure systems tomorrow. So, you know, winds near the low pressure system are always backing toward the low. I call it the vacuum. Because when I call it a vacuum here, I'm going to show you exactly what I'm talking about. So like, for example, if you have a low pressure system up here near like Sioux Falls, when you hear like backing of the winds, right? You have like a warm front, for example, maybe up here, or I'm just drawing an example for you folks so you guys understand the weather here. You got like a cold front or dry line back here. Whenever you hear a meteorologist saying backing of the winds, what does that mean? Well, you have the triple point up here in this area near the warm front, the cold front or dry line, and then the low pressure system. That's called the triple point. And whenever you hear backing of the winds the low pressure system is like a vacuum, right? The airflow around a low pressure system is counterclockwise. The airflow with the high pressure system is the opposite. It's clockwise. So with a low pressure system counterclockwise, the wind is going to be moving around in this direction, kind of like this, right? So that means backing of the winds at the surface are going to be moving from the south and then backing towards the low pressure system, kind of like a vacuum. It's kind of sucking up all that airflow, right? That's what backing of the winds means whenever you hear that in weather terms. So if you didn't know what backing of the winds is, now you do. So there you go. You got backing of the winds toward the low. If you ever hear that for future severe weather events, that's essentially what that is. All right, Austin, Indiana. So let's look at Austin, Indiana here. I'm not sure where that is either, so let's look back here. So Austin, Indiana. Yeah, so you're in pretty far southern Indiana. You're in an enhanced risk of severe weather. You got all three modes of severe weather for you today. You have the chance of some strong tornadoes, some very large hail over 2 inches in diameter, and some 60+ mile-an-hour wind gusts there. You are in that level 3 out of 5, that enhanced risk there in Austin, Indiana. Again, folks, I appreciate you being here. If you are here, make sure to smash that like button. We only have 469 likes. Make sure to keep pressing that like button. The more people who join, the better. The more people who are informed. Also, be sure to subscribe here to Weather on the Go so you have my weather forecast live streams and videos right at your fingertips each and every time we go live and post a video. Lancaster, Ohio. So let's look at Lancaster, Ohio here. And then I saw something about Chicago. We'll talk about that. So Lancaster, Ohio. You're in South Central Ohio. You're in an enhanced risk of severe weather, 10% chance of strong tornadoes. You have some significant 2-inch hail or larger today, and potentially some 60+ mile-per-hour winds into the Lancaster, Ohio area. For Chicago, up in Cook County, you have a level 2 out of 5, a slight risk of severe weather up there in Chicago today. This does include the threat for significant hail. You could be seeing hailstones up to 2 inches or larger in diameter. Your tornado threat in Chicago is 5% today, so you have a pretty decent chance of a tornado or two there. And then you also have the wind risk. The wind risk is 15% there in Chicago. So that's what we're seeing there. St. Louis. So, St. Louis for today, you are under a slight risk for severe weather on the you're under a marginal risk there in St. Louis, east of St. Louis, literally like probably 30 miles down the road to the east. If you cross over the Mississippi and into the Illinois side over there toward like O'Fallon, and like the Collinsville, Belleville area, you guys are under a slight risk. But St. Louis Metro, you are under a marginal risk for severe weather. So, and then the further west you go from St. Louis toward Columbia or Jefferson City, Missouri, the further away you are going to get from the severe weather potential today. So like, for example, Des Moines, Omaha, Lincoln, and Kansas City, all the way back here, you guys are in a level 0 out of 5, a general thunderstorm risk today. We're not worried about severe weather for you. Little Rock, Arkansas. Little Rock, you are in a marginal risk of severe weather today. You have a level 1 out of 5. You have a much higher chance of severe weather as we go into tomorrow in Little Rock. You're actually right in the middle of that enhanced risk area. And literally in moments now, we're going to be waiting on the Storm Prediction Center coming out with their latest Day 2 outlook for Wednesday. That'll be out at 12:30 this afternoon here, in literally about 5 or 6 minutes or so. That's when it's scheduled to be released. It could be a little bit later than that. Could be a little earlier than that. We'll have to wait and see. But currently, Little Rock, you're under an enhanced risk tomorrow. That includes the potential for a tornado outbreak for your area. So make sure you are up to date on the latest weather information in Little Rock for tomorrow. And it's another day you want to have it's another day where you want to have a lot of ways to get weather watches and warnings. So NOAA weather radio. Charge your smartphones, folks. If you live even in the Ohio Valley today, charge your smartphones, charge your smart devices, your tablets, your laptops. Charge all your devices so they are charged up in case you lose power today. So you have multiple ways of communication even after you lose power. I can't stress this enough. Even during marginal risk days of severe weather, you can even lose power in those days. So we want people to be safe out there. Thank you, Harley, for the $1.99. I appreciate it. And let's see here. What does Snowy say? Can you cover Georgetown, Kentucky? Yeah, so like the Georgetown area over here in Kentucky, you guys, actually, there's a Georgetown into Ohio. So let me actually see where Georgetown, Kentucky is here. Because I see Georgetown, Ohio. Okay, so like the Lexington area. Yeah, so Lexington area there into the Georgetown region. So Lexington, Georgetown, you guys are both in an enhanced risk of severe weather today. Strong tornadoes, very large hail over 2 inches in diameter, and some 60-mile-an-hour winds possible for you today. And then into the Georgetown area tomorrow, you're also in the middle of that enhanced risk. So you're just like Lexington, the Georgetown area into Kentucky is also in an enhanced risk of severe weather today and tomorrow. That could include a tornado outbreak tomorrow as well. Zach, I don't know when you ask what is the time frame, Zach, I don't know what area. You're going to have to be more specific about an area because earlier on the live stream, folks, I was very clear that we do have a chance for severe weather all across the Ohio Valley. I can't really give a lot of a time frame because the storms are going to be literally firing up here. I'm going to show you the latest model here, the latest HRRR. So let's look here at the timing of storms. We haven't done this for a little bit, and then we'll answer more questions. But here's 16Z. This is the latest data that we have from the HRRR model. It's not meant to be perfect, but it give you a kind of a simulation of what the radar could look like here. So as we go into the afternoon here, this is the latest data that we have. It's fully loaded. Notice how we have storms developing, actually looking to be pretty strong over here mid-afternoon towards Chicago. So if you live in Chicago, make sure you have multiple ways, especially there in the next couple hours, to receive watches, warnings. Some big supercells potentially developing out here by about 2, 3, and 4 o'clock. And really why I say that, when Zach asks about the time frame of storms, I can't really answer that because a lot of these storms are going to be scattered all about. So that's when I say if you live in Indiana, if you live in Ohio, if you live in Kentucky today, or any area outside of those 3 states that I just mentioned that are in a severe weather risk today, it's very good to just be weather aware all day long. Have a radar app handy on your smart device, your smartphone, or anywhere you get those radar apps. Have multiple ways to get warnings. A NOAA weather radio, because a lot of these storms are going to be scattered. There's not like a very clear defined line of storms where I could say that a certain area is going to get hit at a certain amount of time. Storms can literally pop up today at any point in Ohio, Indiana, Kentucky, and all across the Ohio Valley at literally any point this afternoon, and they could become strong to severe at any point as well. So that's why it's kind of hard and struggling to get kind of a clear picture, clear time frame. Basically, your time frame now is Ohio, Indiana, and Kentucky is now till midnight. That's basically all I can tell you, to be quite honest with you, because there will be storms scattered all across the area today. So that's what we're seeing. Like I said, the more organized storms could be moving into Indiana maybe later this afternoon, but even before late afternoon, you could still see some pop-up storms. Those could become severe, much like the storm we see over there in Cincinnati today along that leading edge of that line moving through. That's from last night's storms. We're seeing that as well. We're seeing that moving through there. Like Fort Wayne, Indianapolis, Muncie, you guys could all see some severe weather later this afternoon or even early afternoon. It depends on when those storms pop up. You just want to be weather aware today. Middle Tennessee. Yeah, so like if we're looking at the timing for Middle Tennessee, we can become a little bit more precise down here because there's actually a little bit more of clear-cut air. There's not storms popping up like everywhere like we see in the Ohio Valley. So like down in Tennessee, I would say like the Middle Tennessee, like the Nashville area, your best threat is between 2 o'clock and about 5 o'clock. And then those storms will move east down I-40 there towards, for example, like Cookeville, Crossville, down to Murfreesboro, and then eventually like the Chattanooga area by late afternoon, really into the evening hours. And then they'll start to kind of fizzle out. So that's what we're seeing there. So Nashville, the Music City there, you're looking at between about 2 o'clock and about 4 or 5 o'clock or so this afternoon for severe weather potential there. So be watching out for that. Yeah, folks, guess what? We are almost to 90,000 subscribers. Thank you to all the new subscribers. If you subscribed today, if you subscribed yesterday, multiple days before today, I really appreciate that. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to do so down below. I really appreciate it. Also, press the like button. I appreciate that. Southwestern Missouri tomorrow. So like if you're talking about Southwestern Missouri, the threat for severe weather tomorrow is an enhanced risk. So you have an enhanced risk of severe weather in Springfield. Joplin, you're on the line between a slight and enhanced. I would just, like I said, consider you an enhanced risk because you're within 25 miles of that enhanced risk there in Joplin. So you have a 30% chance of severe weather tomorrow, essentially, if you live in an enhanced risk. Western Kentucky is not in a moderate risk right now. They could be upgraded to a moderate risk as we get closer to tomorrow. And actually, let me see, did that just update? Or let me see here. I'm going to look and see if the new day 2 just updated here. It's not showing up here on the Radar Omega app yet. And that's because they haven't issued it yet. So they're still working on it. Usually the 12:30 updates, sometimes they can take a little longer than expected. It was scheduled for 12:30 p.m. Central Time. Looks like it's going to come out just a little bit later today for tomorrow. Holly asks Adrian, Michigan. So let's look at Adrian, Michigan. I really think Michigan's kind of on the northern edge of the severe weather. But like the Adrian area, you're between kind of like southwest of Detroit, northwest of Toledo there. So your threat will be over after today. You don't have a threat for severe weather tomorrow. After today, you'll be good. So Adrian, Michigan, you have a slight risk of severe weather today. For Adrian, Michigan, your tornado threat today there is a 5%. So that's a pretty decent chance of tornadoes. So you want to be weather aware through the afternoon and evening. The wind threat for you is a 15% wind threat. So make sure that if you do live in Adrian, Michigan, that you do have a chance to get any loose objects outdoors that may blow around very easily. And then even the hail threat there is a 15% chance. You're very close, though, to that hatched risk for hail. So I wouldn't be surprised if you saw up to maybe hen egg size hail today with 1 or 2 of those storms as they approach your area. We have a new severe thunderstorm warning. Let's go back to the live radar here in northwest Illinois. This is in Whiteside and Carroll County in Illinois here. We got a severe thunderstorm. These are the start of what is going to be a very active afternoon for 60-mile-per-hour winds and some 1-inch hail. That's quarter size here for eastern Whiteside and eastern Carroll County in northwest Illinois until 1:15 this afternoon. Severe thunderstorm located near Agnew or near Rock Falls, Illinois, moving northeast at 50 miles an hour. So they have a little bit of movement to them. So if you live in Sterling, Rock Falls, Morrison, Milledgeville, Tampico, Shannon, Linden, and then over towards the Emerson area or the Carroll County Fairgrounds. You guys have a threat for some 60-mile-per-hour winds and some quarter-size hail. We also have another robust cell just to the west of Rockford, Illinois. That'll be heading up toward Beloit and Janesville here over the next few minutes. So we wanted to update you on the latest warning there. We still have that warning down here as well into the Cincinnati area. We have still a warning for 60-mile-per-hour winds and less than 1-inch hail. So the hail threat is no longer severe, but we're still warned here for 60-mile-per-hour winds. That's moved through Loveland in Ohio. That is actually moving toward Blanchester. So if you live in Blanchester, Ohio, or know anybody that lives in Blanchester, Ohio, your threat for 60-mile-per-hour winds will be increasing over the next few minutes as that storm pushes closer towards you. This is in southwestern Ohio. Let's look here. Lake County, Illinois, you have a threat for some severe weather over the next couple of hours. We have that warning over here in northwest Illinois, well west of Chicago and southwest of Rockford. Those storms will start to mature over the next couple of hours, and we could start to see, like if we go to the HRRR model again and kind of show you the timing here of the potential storms, we can see those storms will actually begin to move closer towards Lake County there, up there in northeast Illinois over the next couple of hours. So you can see those storms really starting to blow up there in northeast Illinois. I wouldn't be surprised if you saw a tornado warning later today. I mean, these storms are going to start to mature. The peak of the severe weather there in Lake County would be between about 1 o'clock and about 4 o'clock this afternoon. So literally within the next couple of hours is your peak threat for severe weather there in the northern suburbs of Chicago. Oh, the sunshine is out in Indianapolis. Yeah, see, that's what's going to actually allow the atmosphere to destabilize here ahead of these storms. So that is not good. We don't like to see sunshine before severe weather. That's only going to make matters worse. That's only going to make the atmosphere more unstable. Let's see here. We got a question. I lost the question here. Toledo, Ohio. So yeah, like the Toledo area, looks like storms won't really be coming through until later on this afternoon, more so this evening. You could have a couple real strong supercells moving through around dinner time and then shortly thereafter. The most intense severe weather probably between about 6 and 9 o'clock there with the latest data that we have for Toledo, Ohio. And the same thing for like Detroit as well. You have the best chance of severe weather today is really late afternoon and into the mid-evening hours. So that few hour span there around dinner time and then shortly thereafter. That's what we're seeing there in the Toledo area. And then up there toward Detroit. Richmond, Indiana. So let's look at Richmond, Indiana next. We're just kind of going over the timing of the storms for you folks. Because by now, we've covered a lot of areas with looking at the outlook of severe weather today. We're just looking at the timing of potential storms and what they could bring. So like the Richmond area into Indiana there. You're east of Indianapolis. So yeah, it looks like your timing for storms in the Richmond area is basically mid-afternoon between 3 o'clock and about 10 o'clock is your time frame, so to be watching out for. So literally in the next couple hours, be weather aware, and if you're not already, and severe storms will be possible to move through between 3 o'clock this afternoon and about 10 o'clock this evening. So you have a several hour window there to watch. Yeah, if you haven't subscribed here to Weather on the Go, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below, folks. I really appreciate that. We're closing in. We're closing in on 90,000 subscribers. You guys can help me get there today. We can get there today. Together, we can do it. If you subscribe to the channel. If all 1,500 people subscribe to the channel right now that are watching, I guarantee we'd hit 90,000 subscribers right now. I appreciate that. I really do. Jasper, Indiana. Let's see here. Jasper, Indiana. So the Jasper area. You are southwest Indiana. Yeah, you're closer to Evansville there. It looks like your timing for storms down in Jasper is between now and about, looks like about 6 o'clock. And you actually may have more storms tonight. So looks like between now and 6 o'clock, and then after 6 o'clock, you may have a little bit of a break for an hour or two, and then more storms coming through between about 7 and 10. So you'll have like an hour break, and it looks like more widespread activity maybe around 7 to 10 o'clock. And all of those storms could pose a risk for hail, wind, and some tornadoes there. And a strong tornado is possible. So we'll be having to watch that as we go through the day. Thanks so much, Frank, for the thumbs up. I appreciate it. How is Springfield, Ohio for timing? So let's look at the Springfield, Ohio area. North and east of Dayton. So you're between Dayton and Columbus here. So it looks like the timing for you, we have storms moving through now. So, and then the atmosphere is going to start to become a little bit more unstable in the wake of the morning or early afternoon storms. So we might have sunshine popping out for a couple hours this afternoon. That's going to actually make the atmosphere more unstable. And the more sunshine we see, the more intense storms could be around that area later on today. Looks like after the morning storms and early afternoon storms move out, the next round would be severe potentially between about 5 p.m. and it looks like midnight. So 5 p.m. and midnight, kind of a long several-hour window there of potentially some significant severe weather. You do have that enhanced risk of severe weather in your area today. So we're really keeping a very close eye on that. Thank you so much, Weather with Sim. SPC has updated. So let's see what the new outlook is for tomorrow. They kept it enhanced. It looks like they kept it enhanced. We're waiting for the new graphics, though, to show up here. We'll wait a few minutes for the graphics to show up. Then we'll show you tomorrow's enhanced risk for severe weather. So they did keep it enhanced. They did not go ahead and upgrade to moderate, which is good news. We don't want to see a moderate risk again. They expanded the enhanced. Okay. Thanks for no, I refreshed it, but the graphic hasn't refreshed yet. I see the enhanced, but I can't show it yet because it's not refreshed. It's not updated yet. But as soon as it does, I will show all of you tomorrow's outlook, the newest update that was at literally a few minutes ago, the 12:30 update from the Storm Prediction Center in Norman, Oklahoma. They do a wonderful job. They really do. The Storm Prediction Center does a wonderful job making their outlooks for severe weather. We give them a round of applause for their amazing work over there in Norman, Oklahoma. So thank you so much. Anybody who's watching this channel from the Storm Prediction Center, if you are, thank you so much for your hard work. A very busy week of severe weather. We really do appreciate you. Thank you so much. All right, let's keep going here. Covington, Kentucky. So let's look at the Covington, Kentucky area for timing of storms for today. We're only looking at the timing of storms for today here right now. So the Covington area. So you're already seeing severe weather. You saw a severe thunderstorm just move maybe to your north a little bit ago. We have that severe warning for the next 11 minutes for 60-mile-an-hour winds moving toward the Blanchester, Ohio area. It looks like timing of storms for you into Covington near Cincinnati there will be basically mid-afternoon through about the mid-evening hours, mid to late evening hours. Actually a long window there. So you could see storms from about 3 o'clock this afternoon, looks like through about midnight. So that's your timing there. 3 p.m. to midnight, a very long 9-hour window to be watching out for some severe weather there in Covington. Fort Wayne, Indiana. Yeah, we haven't talked about Fort Wayne, so great question there. So like Fort Wayne, Indiana, you have an enhanced risk of severe weather today. Morning storms are moving east, so you're drying out. If you see sunshine early this afternoon within the next 1 to 3 hours in Fort Wayne, all that is going to do is actually destabilize the environment, destabilize the atmosphere, make it more energized for severe weather, and that could produce some supercell thunderstorms late afternoon, early evening. Timing for Fort Wayne looks to be between 3 o'clock this afternoon, within the next 2 hours or so, and going through about 8 o'clock here this evening. So 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. is the time frame to watch there in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Thank you so much for everybody who has subscribed here to Weather on the Go. We'll have another weather forecast video tomorrow between 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. as we do most every single morning throughout the year. We'll be updating you on the latest outlook for Wednesday tomorrow. We'll look back at the severe storm reports for Monday and Tuesday. And look ahead as well to the Mother's Day weekend. Wonderful Mother's Day weekend, folks. After the severe weather chaos that we have this week, we're going to be having a delightful Mother's Day weekend, so we can all settle down and enjoy some wonderful spring-like weather for Mother's Day weekend for sure. There will be some rain across the U.S. Mother's Day weekend, but it will be nothing like what we're seeing today. Definitely not seeing any severe weather outbreaks for Mother's Day weekend, which is some great news. Johnson City, Tennessee. So let's look over here at Johnson City, Tennessee for timing of storms. This is in far eastern Tennessee over here. Looks like the storms are actually going to be on a weakening trend for you. I don't really see any opportunity today for any big storms. You may see a storm this afternoon or this evening, but I think for the most part, you may remain dry over there today completely into the Johnson City area in far eastern Tennessee. Your severe weather threat tomorrow is going to be much higher, though. Let's look at Bristol, Tennessee. So Bristol, Tennessee, also here in the chat. Thanks for joining from Bristol, Tennessee. Hopefully you're having a great Tuesday so far. Same thing, yeah, Bristol, Tennessee. That's up near Johnson City. The Bristol area, same thing. Isolated storm possible this afternoon or this evening. Maybe severe, but I think most part the coverage and intensity of the storms there near Johnson City, Knoxville, and the Bristol, Tennessee area will be very few and far between. You know, pretty weak storms as they move through. They're going to be weakening as they push across the state there of Tennessee, which is good news, which is definitely good news. London, Kentucky. So let's look at London, Kentucky here. Again, thank you folks for joining here. Live tornado outbreak coverage. I appreciate it. Subscribe and like the channel. We'll keep you covered. London, Kentucky. So the London area, south and east here of Lexington, looks like your storm opportunities will be literally one of those areas where you just have to be weather aware all afternoon. You'll have one round come through the next couple hours, a little break. More storms come through late afternoon, early evening, a little break, and then more organized potential storms. If we see this line come to fruition from Chillicothe, Ohio, through Louisville, back toward Hopkinsville in western Kentucky, this may be on a weakening trend, potentially, with at least the latest data that we have, but we could be seeing a little bit of an outflow boundary driven storms, could be seeing some damaging winds here. This will be around the midnight time frame, so we'll have to keep a close eye on this as we get closer toward the evening hours. So it looks like about 2 to 3 rounds of storms there for the London, Kentucky area. One here within the next hour or two, a little break. Mid-afternoon into the late afternoon, a little break, and then more storms, maybe more organized line of storms in a weakening trend after midnight there. And those will move through around sunrise there on Wednesday. Evansville, Indiana timing. So yeah, over here in Evansville, the timing of storms goes as follows. We have some scattered weather there, scattered storms, scattered weather going on there into Evansville the next couple hours. If you're seeing sunshine right now, it's another area where you don't want to see sunshine because that will destabilize the atmosphere, make it more unstable for more severe weather chances As we go into the afternoon, it looks like a couple storms between now and about 4 o'clock, and then more storms developing basically right over Evansville. You're kind of the initiation point of the following round early this evening, and then those storms will mature and grow and upscale into more of an MCS or a QLCS line of storms. An MCS is a mesoscale convective system. A QLCS is a quasi-linear convective system. They both mean pretty much more organized lines of storms. That's essentially what those are. So, and sometimes with QLCS lines of storms, those quasi-linear convective systems, you could see tornadoes spin up like we saw back in Missouri yesterday. A lot of tornado warnings even after midnight going on. That could happen again, so we'll watch that. So it looks like the more organized activity for Evansville will be probably late afternoon, a couple storms. We'll watch those for tornado potential. And then again, it looks like early to mid-evening. And then after 10 o'clock, toward the midnight time frame, Evansville will start to quiet down a lot more. Oh, really? Somebody in the chat says it's sunny here in Indianapolis. Well, that is not good. So if the sun is shining in Indianapolis, that's only going to make matters potentially worse. That is further making more energy for storms later today. So the sunshine is not a good thing to see today. Roanoke and Rocky Mount, Virginia. So the Rocky Mount area into Virginia. The Roanoke area is going to be pretty much dry today. I don't really see any storms. Maybe an isolated shower or a storm. But the Roanoke area, for the most part today, will be dry. Maybe a line of storms trying to approach your area, but on a weakening outflow boundary tomorrow. Those storms may even struggle to reach your area even at sunrise. I think your threat for tomorrow will be later afternoon, evening. I think Wednesday may be your best chance for severe weather in the Roanoke area. And probably, honestly, Thursday as well. Hey folks, look at that. We're almost 100 subscribers away, about 150 subscribers away from 90,000. If you want to help me get to 90,000, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. And then we'll be just 10,000 away from 100K. That will be cool. Thank you. See if we can reach our goal today of 90,000 subscribers on the live stream. I really appreciate it. Again, if all 1,400 of you subscribe to the channel here right now on the live, we would be right there at our goal. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks to all the new subscribers. Thanks to everybody who has donated here today. You're very generous. I really appreciate all of you. Everybody who's just tuning in and didn't do anything today, but maybe just press the like button or just tuning in and listening to live coverage, I really appreciate you. Hopefully everybody, all 1,410 of you are, or whoever's watching, having a wonderful Tuesday so far. Thank you. Meade County, Kentucky. So yes, I can check Meade County, Kentucky real quick. So the Meade County, Kentucky area, south and west of Louisville. So you have a chance for some pretty significant storms going into late afternoon. It looks like between 3 o'clock and 6 o'clock with your first round. And then you have a couple-hour break and then more organized storms, maybe a line of storms moving through between about 9 p.m. and midnight. Those could bring a more widespread threat for damaging winds, hail, and some tornadoes well after dark. So that is something that we're concerned about there. Into the Meade County area. They're just south and west of Louisville. Just 1 second here. I'm seeing if the graphics are updated yet here on the Storm Prediction Center for Wednesday's threat. Seeing what it looks like here. Looks like they made the 10% a little bit bigger for tornadoes tomorrow, just a little bit. But pretty much looks to be on track. So what the Storm Prediction Center says, here's what they say in their outlook here. Let's see if it's updated here. Let's take this off real quick, and then we'll get back to it in a second. So here is the outlook for tomorrow. We, of course, want to focus on today first and foremost. But tomorrow looks to be pretty impressive. They did expand that enhanced risk a little further south to include Memphis, Tennessee as well now. So if you live in Memphis, you are included in that level 3 out of 5 enhanced risk of severe weather. Kim Owens, thank you so much for the generous $5. I'm in St. Croix, Indiana. I'm disabled. Should I worry? Yeah, let's look here at St. Croix. I'll look at St. Croix, I promise, here in just a moment. But yeah, we did expand that there in Nashville and also down into Memphis and through Little Rock and even closer now, a little bit closer to the Dallas-Fort Worth area with that enhanced risk for tomorrow. And looking at the tornado threat, they did also expand that just a little bit. We have a 10% chance of strong tornadoes now, including Clarksville, Nashville, Crossville there, and Cookville as we go through the day tomorrow. So if you live in the Cumberland Plateau here in eastern Tennessee, if you live in northern or middle Tennessee, if you live in west central Kentucky, southern and southwest Indiana, southern Illinois into the Carbondale, Mount Vernon area, St. Louis metro, back to Jefferson City, Springfield, Missouri, and then back in towards the Cape Girardeau area in the foothills region of Missouri there in extreme northeastern Arkansas as well. You do have that 10% chance of an EF2 or stronger tornado tomorrow. They did expand that 5% area of tornadoes down toward Dallas as well. So if you live in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, especially the northeastern and the eastern side of the Metroplex there. So for example, Plano, McKinney, also over here into the Paris, Texas region, and up there towards Texarkana, you guys have that 5% chance of tornadoes on Wednesday. So now let's look here at Kim's question. Kim asks, I'm in St. Croix, Indiana. I'm disabled. Should I worry? So let's look here at the St. Croix area. I don't know exactly where that's at, so let me look that up real quick for you. So St. Croix, hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. St. Croix there in Indiana, and that is just west there. Is that near Evansville? Okay, so you're in like southern Indiana. You have a threat for severe weather today and tomorrow. Both are significant. You could have some pretty strong tornadoes both days. The timing of storms for you, I would never worry about severe weather. I would not worry about severe weather. There's no sense to worry about it, but for the general timing of things here in the St. Croix area, looks like about 2 rounds of storms. So between 3 p.m. and 6 o'clock, could be some scattered coverage of storms there. Those could pose a risk for strong tornadoes. Those EF2 or stronger tornadoes there in the St. Croix area. Also including very large hail over 2 inches in diameter that is hen egg size or larger, and then those 60+ mile per hour winds. Then you'll have a break. So 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. the first round. Then you'll have a break. And then we'll see more storms organized. This may become more linear, but there could be some embedded tornadoes within this line after dark. This will be moving into the St. Croix region between about 8 o'clock and about midnight. So that's what we're looking at there. So 2 rounds of storms. The first round, 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. And then the second round in St. Croix between about the 8 p.m. time frame there, and it looks like midnight. And both could present rounds of severe weather, including damaging winds, hail, and tornadoes. So thank you very much, Kim, for the $5. Thank you so much for the $2. We appreciate the stream. Thank you so much for the $2. I appreciate that. And also thank you to the D-Dude2611 for the $4.99. Will Northwest Indiana see any strong tornadoes today? The hatched area is just to our east. So if we're looking here at the hatched area for tornadoes there in Indiana today, you can see the hatched area there in northwest Indiana. So you must be very close to the Illinois state line, like the Portage area. You are in that 5%. You have a pretty significant chance of tornadoes today. So definitely be weather aware as we go into the afternoon. Like the timing for your area, if you're up toward like Portage, Indiana, the South Bend, the Gary area there, here's your timing for storms today, literally between about now and it looks like about 6 o'clock. So right now through about 6 o'clock is your timing for storms up there. After 6 o'clock, the storms will really start winding down there for northwestern Indiana, and they'll be pushing east into eastern Indiana, Ohio, Michigan, and Kentucky. So after 6 o'clock there into northwest Indiana, we can sound the all clear and you'll be good. So just make sure to remain weather aware. Always good to have multiple ways to receive severe weather watches and warnings. Deborah says there's sunshine in Milford, Indiana. Yes. Yeah, again, that means the atmosphere is going to be more primed to produce severe weather as we go later on through the day there. We got a new severe thunderstorm warning, so let's get to this here. Let's get to the latest radar update for northern Illinois. We have a severe thunderstorm warning now for Ogle County here in northern Illinois, including Mount Morris, and up here toward Byron and Oregon, Illinois. This is heading up toward Rockford. This is between I-88 and Highway 20, and this is capable of 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-size hail. So if you live in northwestern and central Ogle County in north-central Illinois until 1:30 this afternoon, the storm's moving toward Rockford at 45 miles per hour. Areas impacted: Byron, Oregon, Mount Morris, Polo, Davis Junction, Stillman Valley, Leaf River, Adeline, and Woosong. So if you live in those areas, make sure to seek shelter away from windows and indoors, and be watching out for that storm. Very dangerous storm there. So that'll be heading up toward Rockford. Thank you, Zachary Smith, for the $4.99. I work outside for work. I live 30 minutes south of St. Louis. I just turned on the stream. What's Wednesday for me look like so I can prepare? Thank you. Absolutely. Thanks for being here, Zach, and thank you so much for the $4.99. You're 30 minutes south of St. Louis, so for tomorrow in the St. Louis area, you are in an enhanced risk of severe weather. They actually did expand that enhanced risk a little bit further. So if you're south of St. Louis, you are firmly in that enhanced risk. That's a level 3 out of 5 on the risk scale there for Wednesday. The tornado threat for your area, you're right in the middle of that 10% hatch risk for tornadoes. Strong, long track tornadoes are possible tomorrow, those EF2 to EF5 strength tornadoes. We also have the threat for some big hail as we go into tomorrow. We could be seeing those hailstones in excess of 2 inches in diameter. So we could be seeing those hen egg size hailstones or larger. And then the wind threat tomorrow is 30% for 60 plus mile per hour winds. So you're in the bullseye area south of St. Louis there, Zachary Smith, for the severe weather. So make sure you're watching out for that tomorrow. And again, thank you so much, Zachary Smith, for the $4.99. Thank you to DDude2611 for the $4.99. Thank you to TUS for the $1.99. And thank you to Kim Owens for the $5 donation. I really appreciate that. You guys are definitely very helpful to the channel and keeping this going, so I appreciate it. Kokomo, Indiana. So let's look at Kokomo, Indiana. And again, hopefully I'm pronouncing these cities correctly. If I don't hesitate to tell me the right pronunciation for your city. I don't want to get it wrong. I appreciate that. So the Kokomo, Indiana region, north of Indianapolis. The timing of storms here today is going to be probably late afternoon here, but we'll look for sure. The latest data is coming in here on the HRRR, so the 17Z is just coming out. Looks like the Kokomo area we're talking about probably looks like after 3 o'clock. So 4 or 5 o'clock time frame is when we're going to start to see storms moving into your area. And the thing is here, if you are under a risk of severe weather in the Ohio Valley, doesn't mean that you'll see severe weather. This coverage of storms today, and hopefully I don't sound like a broken record, but will be scattered, okay? So there will be areas that will not see a single drop of rain today. There will be areas that may see several severe thunderstorms over the same area today as well. So yes, a lot of these areas in the enhanced risk, you are under a risk of severe weather. You do not want to take it lightly. Everybody in the enhanced risk is at risk for severe weather today. Everybody in a slight risk is at risk, and everybody in a marginal risk is at risk today. So we want to take this seriously. Enhanced risks are, a little bit uncommon. They happen maybe once or twice a year in a certain regional area of the U.S. So it's a pretty decent threat we're looking at here. And again, I want to stress this enough. I know a lot of people always say to me that, we had an enhanced risk of, like, for example, yesterday, there were people in the moderate and high risk area that were saying it was a bust. I don't like to hear that because there was a devastating tornado back here in Bartlesville, Oklahoma yesterday, and our hearts go out to everybody there into the Plain States and northeastern Oklahoma that were affected by the devastating tornadoes yesterday evening. And to hear about people calling it a bust is just very irresponsible. It's very uncalled for. So it wasn't a bust yesterday. That tornado occurred right in the middle of that moderate and high risk area. And it only takes one tornado. Only takes one tornado. The Storm Prediction Center, they are all human. All those people that work for the Storm Prediction Center, they're all human. Just like all meteorologists and climatologists and stuff and so forth, they're all human. So people make mistakes. They did not make a mistake yesterday. That tornado occurred right in the middle of that moderate and high risk zone of severe weather in Oklahoma. The Storm Prediction Center did a phenomenal job of predicting that environment down there. So we give them our applause for that. Independence, Kentucky. Thank you to Harley for the $1.99. So let's look here at Independence, Kentucky. So just south of Cincinnati there, looks like your timing of storms as this is just loading in. Basically, you just have to be on the lookout all afternoon here. We have to go back to the 16Z run because this is only 33% loaded in. After the morning storms, we could be seeing storms moving through after 3 o'clock, and then one round between 3 o'clock and 6 o'clock, and then more storms moving through, more organized storms after 7 o'clock. That's as that low-level jet really starts to crank up this evening. That will enhance some of these storms to become more organized, producing more widespread wind damage, potentially over 60 miles an hour, some quarter to even head egg size hail or larger, and also more of those tornadoes out there. Will Ohio get a tornado watch soon? I'm not sure. Let me see. I think there's a mesoscale discussion that just came out recently for some of these areas. So there's a mesoscale discussion here that was issued at 2:15 or it's valid until 2:15. So we have an 80% chance of a severe tornado watch. Probability is 80% up here into the Chicagoland area. Let's actually turn that on to see. Whoops, wrong thing there. Let me turn that on to see if that is actually what we have yet. So not yet. We do not have a tornado watch yet. They just issued it. It says in this mesoscale discussion for eastern, northeastern Illinois, northwest Indiana, and far southwestern lower Michigan, a few supercells are expected to develop from central to eastern Illinois into western Indiana by the middle of this afternoon. Large hail and isolated damaging winds will be the primary threat across the west, with tornado potential becoming greater east. So what they are saying, the Storm Prediction Center is kind of circling this area in general that I'm trying to circle here, kind of this area up here for the potential of some significant severe weather happening over the next few hours. They say areas across the west, more into eastern Illinois here, have a threat for large hail and isolated damaging winds. Areas further east towards southwestern lower Michigan and northern and northwest Indiana have a greater tornado potential developing over the next few hours. So that was what they were saying there in their mesoscale discussion. We have a second mesoscale discussion that was issued from the Storm Prediction Center literally a little bit ago here. This is a 40% chance of a severe thunderstorm watch. A brief tornado and locally damaging wind threat may persist in the late afternoon with the remnants of an earlier mesoscale convective system that may contain transient weak supercells. Greater severe threat is expected later into the evening. So what they're saying is those storms that are moving currently through the Cincinnati region that were severe earlier, that warning has since dropped off. The area that we're talking about that was moving toward Blanchester, Ohio, that had that warning for 60-mile-an-hour winds has now been allowed to expire. But those storms may still present a brief tornado or local damaging wind threat over the next couple hours, and then a greater severe weather threat for Cincinnati, and then back there towards southern Ohio, eastern Kentucky, and western West Virginia as we get later into the evening. That's what they're saying there. If you haven't subscribed, if you haven't liked the live stream, I appreciate if you would do so. If we get all 1,500 people to subscribe here, again, we'll hit 90,000, today's goal on the live stream. So I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. No, Dayton and Cincinnati are both in the enhanced, so you guys both have the same chance of severe weather there. Here, I'll pull up the outlook real quick for today. So both Dayton and Cincinnati, you're both in the middle of that enhanced risk for today. So you both have the same exact risk of severe weather. Both have a 10% chance, 10% hatch risk of tornadoes and very large hail and damaging winds. Jackson, Michigan. So we'll look at Jackson, Michigan here real quick. So you're west of Ann Arbor. The Ann Arbor area and like west of Detroit, and like so from Ann Arbor back west toward Kalamazoo and up toward Lansing and almost to the Holland, Michigan area, you are under a level 2 out of 5, a slight risk of severe weather as we go into the afternoon hours. If we look at the tornado potential there, we have a 5% chance of a tornado there into the Jackson, Michigan area. Your hail threat today is also a 15%, and your wind threat today is 15% as well for 60-mile-an-hour winds or greater. So tomorrow's threat there in Jackson, Michigan is a general thunderstorm risk. Your severe weather threat is over after today, so that is some good news. That is some great news. Dorothy, Johnson City, Tennessee, today and tomorrow. Well, for today in Johnson City, storms will be on a weakening trend, but you are under a marginal risk down there for today into the Johnson City, Tennessee region. So if we go back and we look at Johnson City there, you are under a level 1 out of 5, a marginal risk there in far eastern Tennessee. That does include Knoxville and Gatlinburg as well for today. Your tornado risk down there in Johnson City is essentially a 2% chance. There is a chance of a tornado, but it's a much lower chance than what is up there in Indiana, Ohio, and northern Kentucky. For tomorrow, you have a much greater chance of severe weather. Johnson City and then westbound towards Knoxville and then even over there toward Murfreesboro and Nashville in Tennessee. You guys are under that enhanced risk of severe weather for tomorrow. And that includes for Johnson City there, Dorothy, for tomorrow, that does include the threat for a 5% chance of a tornado there in Johnson City tomorrow afternoon. So a little bit greater relative to today of tornadoes for Wednesday in that area. Thank you so much, folks. We hit our goal of 90,000 subscribers here on the live stream. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. That means we're only 10,000 subscribers away from 100,000 on this channel. A long-time dream of mine, folks, so thank you. We couldn't do it without you. I really couldn't. So I appreciate each and everybody that subscribed today so far. And again, if you haven't, make sure to do so. We'll have a new weather forecast video tomorrow morning right here on this channel on Weather on the Go. If you guys are watching me, and I'm going to post this here in the top of the live stream chat for you folks. If you guys are watching me from the north central U.S., whether you're from the high plains, the central plains, the upper Midwest, the lower Midwest, the Great Lakes, Ohio Valley, including Ohio and Kentucky, you want a more detailed weather channel to watch, I have a second channel. It's called North Central Weather Center. And you can subscribe to that as well. I'll always do this channel, Weather on the Go, but that's just a second channel that I run. That's a second channel that I run for those areas in the north central U.S. that I do videos on that channel, mostly on Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and the weekends if needed, or for higher impact events. So I'm going to post that here in the chat and pin it to the top. So if anybody wants to subscribe to that, they can. All right, so I'm pinning it to the top of the chat. If you guys want to go subscribe to that channel, new video for that channel will also be out tomorrow as well. Later, those videos are they both come out usually in the mornings. Weather on the Go's videos here on this channel, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. time frame. And then for the second channel there, it's usually between 10 a.m. and noon on Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays. So I just wanted to put that out there for you and get that out of the way. Yes, I can. can you do Brown City, Michigan? Yeah, Brown City, Michigan. So let's do that real quick. So Brown City, Michigan. Again, folks, if I am not answering your question or your city about the severe weather risks for today or tomorrow or anything, again, make sure after the live stream is over to ask any questions that you do have. I will answer every single last one of your questions after the live stream is over. So don't feel bad that, I may have missed your question on accident. I feel bad that I did because I can't, there's 1,500 people on here. I can't answer every single question, unfortunately, right now on the live stream. But afterwards, I will be definitely able to answer as many questions as possible. So the Brown City area north of Detroit for today, your severe weather risk, you have a marginal risk, so you're a level 1 out of 5. That does include Mount Pleasant, Michigan, Muskegon, and then over there toward Flint, Michigan, and then also does include most of the Metro Detroit area as well. Looking at the tornado threat there, you do have a 2% chance of a tornado there in your area for today into the Brown City, Michigan area. So definitely keeping an eye on that. Decatur, Illinois. So I see that. What are the chances of a tornado? So Decatur, Illinois, for today, you have, let's see where Decatur is. Decatur, you have a 5% chance of a tornado today. Much greater chance as you go east towards the Indiana state line. Much less chance if you go west of Springfield toward Quincy, Illinois. You have essentially, you're dropping back into Springfield to a 2%, and then Quincy, you're less than a 2% there. So Decatur, Illinois, you have a 5% chance of a tornado today. And then Decatur, Illinois, for tomorrow, you have a 2% chance. So you have a 2% chance tomorrow and a 5% today. So both days carry the risk for tornadoes. So make sure to remain weather aware. And again, these outlooks will be updated by the Storm Prediction Center again as we go into tomorrow's outlook. The next outlook for Wednesday, issued by the Storm Prediction Center, will come out at 1 o'clock in the morning. They'll have an additional outlook at 8 a.m. They'll have another one at 11:30 tomorrow for Wednesday, and then they'll have another one at 3 p.m. So multiple outlooks coming out tomorrow for tomorrow's outbreak. So we'll watch out for that. We'll be updating it throughout the event. What about Greene County, Indiana? So let's look at Greene County, Indiana there. So Greene County, Indiana, we're looking at areas south and west of Indianapolis. Yes, you are in a 10% risk of tornadoes today, so you need to be weather aware. You do have an enhanced risk of severe weather today, and then as you go into Wednesday tomorrow, you are also at risk of an enhanced risk. So you have back-to-back enhanced risk days of severe weather there in the Greene County region. Looking at the timing of storms for Greene County today, we're looking at the timing of the storms, and let me see if the newest 17Z is loaded in. It's 67%, so that should be enough. So as we go into the afternoon, looks like after 3 o'clock is the time frame to watch there in Greene County, south and west Indianapolis, and then those storms will be moving through dinner time, and then additional storms may fire up there south of Indianapolis around 9 o'clock. So it looks like your main time frame is between 3 p.m. and about 10 p.m. there into the Greene County region. 3 p.m. to 10 p.m. today for severe weather. Timing on White County, Indiana. So let's look here at White County, Indiana. See that here in the chat as well. North and west. Now we're north and west of Indianapolis. So yeah, pretty much the same timing up there in White County. We're looking at after 3, so between 3 p.m., a little bit sooner of an end time than areas further south into, say, Greene County that we're just mentioning. So White County starting around 3 p.m. and then potentially going through about 6, 7 o'clock. And then after that, so after 7 o'clock this evening, your severe weather threat will be completely over for the day there. So you have a few hour window there, 3 p.m. to around 7 p.m. After 7 o'clock, your severe weather threat there into White County, Indiana will be over essentially. Your threat for tornadoes, though, is 10% risk of some EF2s or stronger. Cook County, Illinois, into the Chicagoland area, you have a 5% chance of tornadoes today. Your time frame is literally now, between now here, and it looks like the most intense weather will actually move in around mid-afternoon, 2, 3 o'clock, and then after that, it will start to wind down toward the evening. So toward the evening rush there. So it looks like between now and about 5 o'clock, and then after 5 o'clock, the Chicago evening rush should be a little bit dicey, maybe toward the beginning around 5 p.m. But after that, like 6, 7 o'clock, we should really start to quiet down there in the Cook County region toward Chicago. Let's see here. Utica, Ohio. So let's look at Utica, Ohio. So the Utica, Ohio region, north and east of Columbus. Your timing over here today, you are in an enhanced risk as well. The Utica area, looks like over the next couple of hours through about 3, 4 o'clock, you may have a little bit of shower, maybe some rumbles, the thunder moving through. Can't rule out a severe storm, but I think most of these will be on a weakening trend. This is like the leftover activity from Monday night. Additional storms will be moving through as we go into the evening hours. So it looks like storms will really start erupting between about 6 p.m. and about midnight. So that's kind of the main time frame for today's storms that you're looking at. And unfortunately, that does coincide with sunset. So that means darker skies when these storms move through. So again, make sure to have a NOAA weather radio handy if you're in Ohio today, in northern Kentucky and Indiana. Again, they do a very good job in alerting you for severe weather potential. Absolutely do. Yeah, the Fort Wayne, Indiana area. Fort Wayne, Indiana, your time frame is between 3 p.m. and 9 p.m. 3 p.m. and 9 p.m. And you're going to have those supercells moving through that could be capable of producing all 3 modes of severe weather, damaging winds over 60 miles per hour, those very large 2-inch or larger variety hailstones in diameter. We're talking hen egg size or larger, and then a chance for some strong EF2 to EF3 caliber tornadoes today. So yeah, if you live in Fort Wayne, Indiana, you want to make sure by especially 3 o'clock that you are on high alert if you are not already, because those storms will be moving in the next couple of hours here. We're getting closer to the top of the hour towards 2 o'clock here very soon. Yeah, we've been live for almost 2 hours now, so thank you folks again for being here. We're almost to 1,000 likes. And I appreciate everybody getting to our goal of 90,000. We're on the road, again, to 100,000 subscribers. My first channel here, Weather on the Go, go subscribe to that. Press the subscribe button below if you haven't, so you get the latest weather information right at your fingertips. A new weather forecast video will be out tomorrow between 8 a.m. and 10 a.m., as we always do in the mornings. And then my second channel video will be out later tomorrow as well. That's North Central Weather Center. That's pinned at the top of the live stream chat if you want to go subscribe to that. If you live in the North Central U.S., that'll be a good channel for you as well. Thank you, Kelsey. I appreciate you. I subscribed and liked. Thank you, Kelsey. I appreciate that. Thank you. Ripley County, Indiana. Hey, Andrea, how you doing? Thanks for joining, Andrea. Good Tuesday to you. So let's look at Ripley County, Indiana. So now we're over here in southeastern Indiana. Yeah, it looks like the Ripley County region, we're talking about between 3 o'clock and midnight here. So a pretty long span there of about 9 hours. Pretty long time span there. So about 9 hours. So 3 p.m. to about midnight is our time frame for severe weather there. In the Ripley County area, we'll have multiple rounds of some supercell storms potentially moving through with all modes of severe weather, tornadoes, possibly strong EF2, EF3 caliber tornadoes, some very large hail, and then some 60 plus mile per hour wind gusts. We'll very much be watching out for that. Freeburg, Illinois. So Freeburg, Illinois. So we're down here in southern Illinois, right outside St. Louis. So the Freeburg area, honestly, your time frame is between now and about maybe 6 o'clock or so. The model attempts to push supercell through your area, crazy enough, between about 6 and 7. But pretty much you're seeing pretty limited coverage of storms today in general. Pretty isolated coverage for you in Springfield. Well, yeah, Springfield, Illinois, but Freeburg is what I meant to say. Yeah, we're looking at pretty isolated coverage there. So in and around St. Louis to Springfield, Illinois, and then down over there towards the Freeburg area in Illinois. Pretty isolated coverage of storms. And if we see a severe storm, it would be all modes, hail, winds, tornadoes will be possible there between, now and about 6 o'clock or so. Troy, Michigan. So let's look at Troy, Michigan. So Troy, Michigan, just north of Detroit. We do have the threat for some severe weather today. A little bit lower of a threat. You do have a marginal risk, but you're still at risk for severe weather, even if you're in a marginal. I do think that late afternoon and evening will start to ramp up with severe weather chances there. I think between about 6 o'clock and midnight is your best chance. So 6 o'clock and midnight there, just north of Detroit, into the Troy, Michigan area. And that does include the Flint area and over toward Lansing as well. Between about 6 o'clock and midnight will be your best chance for severe weather there. Hey, look at that. We're 6 likes away from 1,000. Thank you. Yeah, no problem, Bethany. Thanks for joining. Hopefully you're having a great Tuesday out there. Plainfield, Illinois. So let's look at Plainfield, Illinois. That's up there towards Chicago, the western suburbs there. So like the Plainfield, Illinois region, you are literally right now through about mid-afternoon. Pretty quick window there of storms. So between now and about 4 o'clock is your time frame. We actually do have a new severe thunderstorm warning. Let's get to this now here in northeast Illinois. Just south and west of Joliet. We're starting to see a lot more activity here in Illinois. We did have a warning up there toward Rockford. Actually, Rockford, Illinois is about to see some pretty heavy rain here in just a few minutes if they aren't already. If you live in Morris and Coal City area, you do have a severe thunderstorm warning in northeastern Illinois for 60 mile per hour wind and quarter size hail. This is for northern Grundy County. Okay, so this is located near Morris, moving northeast very quickly at highway speed at 55 miles per hour. Areas impacted here are Morris, the Channahon, Illinois region, Minooka, and Mason, Illinois. So if you live in those areas, make sure you are seeking indoors shelter from the storm and away from windows. And it looks like we got more storms popping up over here. Let's look at the echo tops with these storms to see how tall they are, because it gives you an idea of how strong these storms are. They're pretty low topped right now. One over here towards portions of northwest Illinois, 38,000 feet. The one near Rockford, about 35,000. And then the one over Morris right now that we're just talked about, 39,000. So they're approaching 40,000 foot tops there. So these will begin to become capable of producing hail and wind as they get a little bit taller here over the next little while. Yeah, Eric, the Fort Wayne, Indiana area, we're looking mainly at we'll go back to the model here. We just wanted to update you on the newest severe thunderstorm warning. And actually, we got another warning down here, so just one more second here. I didn't realize that. We got another severe thunderstorm warning down here into portions of northeastern Kentucky and far southern Ohio into the Portsmouth area for 60-mile-per-hour winds. So we're watching that region as well. Some isolated wind damage possible with that as that pushes off further to the east. But for Eric's question there for the Fort Wayne, Indiana area, your threat will be over the next few hours here. So let's look at the timing there for the Fort Wayne area. We're literally looking at it after 3 o'clock. So from about 3 o'clock through about 9 p.m. is really the window we're looking at there. So 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. there in Fort Wayne. $3 p.m. to 9 p.m. is the time frame to watch out and be weather aware there in northeastern Indiana and Fort Wayne. Yeah, no problem, no problem. Toledo, Ohio, Brandon. Yes, the Toledo, Ohio region, we're looking mainly at the evening hours. Toledo could have a few pop-up storms late afternoon, 3, 4, 5 o'clock. But I think as we go in towards the early to mid-evening, I think around the 7, 8, and 9 o'clock time frame is probably your peak severe weather chance in Toledo. Looks like some big storms moving in. So the main time frame to look out for, I would say, between 4 p.m. and 10 p.m. All right, so you got like a 6-hour window there, roughly, of watching out for that. All right. All right, so it looks like the Storm Prediction Centers, with their mesoscale discussion, they just issued the newest watch box for the day. So let's go over this real quick here. So there's a new tornado watch that just got issued here. So there's a tornado watch for far southeast Wisconsin. This includes Kenosha, Racine, and Whitewater, Wisconsin there. And then it includes parts of northeastern and eastern Illinois from Rockford down to Chicago, Waukegan, and Evanston, down through Joliet, Bloomington normal down to Champaign-Urbana, Kankakee, Springfield, all the way down towards Effingham, Charleston there where Eastern Illinois University is, back there toward Taylorville, Decatur, over here into the Rantoul area, and then over into Indiana side here we have South Bend, Gary, and Portage, Indiana, down through just west of Fort Wayne into Marion, Lafayette, Terre Haute, into Fishers, Greenwood, Indianapolis, down here into Bloomington, and then the Columbus, Indiana region. And then up there into southwestern Lower Michigan, south of Kalamazoo. We're going to be keeping an eye on the Three Rivers area, Sturgis, and then back to Benton Harbor, Shoreham. All those areas there, we have a tornado watch. And this tornado watch there is in effect until 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time for Indiana there and Lower Michigan. And for Illinois, it's in effect till 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time there. In this tornado watch, a few tornadoes likely with a couple intense tornadoes possible. When they say intense tornadoes, they're expecting EF2, EF3 caliber tornadoes possible. Scattered large hail and isolated very large hail events up to 2.5 inches in diameter possible. And scattered damaging wind gusts to 70 miles an hour, okay? In their summary, they say scattered thunderstorms are forecast to continue to develop and intensify this afternoon and into the early evening hours. The environment, or the atmosphere, in other words, will continue to destabilize. That means to become more unstable. You feel the mugginess outside. That's going to become a lot more unstable for these storms to work with. So the atmosphere will continue to destabilize through the mid and late afternoon across much of the tornado watch area. The stronger storms will likely become supercellular and pose a risk for large to very large hail, severe wind gusts, those will be up to 70 miles an hour, and tornadoes, and that includes those intense tornadoes, those EF2, EF3 caliber tornadoes. So we'll keep an eye on that. So that's what that tornado watch means. And again, for those of you, again, a tornado watch means conditions are favorable for tornadoes and severe thunderstorms in and also close to the watch area. People inside this watch area need to be on the lookout for threatening weather conditions and listen for the latest statements and possible warnings to follow along with later this afternoon and this evening. So that is what they say today for severe weather. So that tornado watch is in effect until 9 p.m. Eastern time for Indiana and Michigan and 8 p.m. Eastern time there for Illinois and Wisconsin. I believe Michigan, am I correct? Is Michigan on Eastern time or are they on Central? I know Indiana runs on Eastern time. I'm not sure about Michigan, but I do know Wisconsin and Illinois are on Central Daylight Time. I should know that Michigan, what time zone they're in, but I don't. Yeah, Wisconsin Central Time, Michigan's Eastern. Okay, thank you. So I was correct then. Okay, so Michigan and Indiana, that tornado watch till 9 p.m. Eastern, and then Illinois, Wisconsin until 8 p.m. Central. That's what that means. Got it. Thank you so much, guys. Yeah, Southwestern Michigan is Eastern. Okay, cool. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. So yeah, cool. Thank you. Owensboro, Kentucky. So we can look at Owensboro, Kentucky. Again, folks, if you are not here and with us for the 2 hours that we've been live and you are just joining, we're doing live Q&A, question and answer of the severe weather outbreak, tornado outbreak we're seeing today. So if you have any questions, make sure to ask them. Leave a like down below here in the live stream. And all 1,500 of you, if you are not subscribed to the channel, make sure to subscribe below. We're on the road to 100,000 subscribers here. We just surpassed 90,000 today. And with your help, we could get close to 100,000. I appreciate it. So Owensboro, we're going to look at the Owensboro, Kentucky region. Just to the east-southeast of Evansville. Right now, you're not in that watch box, but you do have a threat for some severe weather there today. So let's turn back on the composite reflectivity here. So the Owensboro area, you can see it on your screen there, near Evansville and Louisville here. You can see storms will be rumbling through. Looks like more organized as we go into the evening. A couple storms are possible mid to late afternoon. And then as we go into the 4 o'clock hour, and then I think a little bit of a break after that, and then we go into the evening hours with more organized line of storms that could move through potentially through about 10, 11 o'clock. Those could pose a risk for all hazards, but mainly widespread damaging winds, hail, and some tornadoes, and strong tornadoes possible, even with the line of storms. We saw some tornado warnings, like I said, yesterday in the plains, even in Missouri. We could definitely see more of that action with some of those QLCS tornadoes, like those spin-up tornadoes on the leading edge of the line of storms across Owensboro, Evansville, Louisville, maybe even stretching up to Hamilton and Cincinnati and Dayton, Ohio later on. If we have that broken line or QLCS line of storms moving through. Oh, man. Yeah, a lot of data coming in now. Looking at some of the newer weather models coming in for this afternoon. And, yeah, let's look at something here real quick. We haven't looked at much at all really today. And let me take the tornado watch off right now. And actually, before we do so, I just saw a new severe thunderstorm watch, or severe thunderstorm warning rather, pop up there in northeastern Illinois that we'll get to. This is getting closer to Chicago now, so let's look at the latest radar observation here. So if you live in the city of Joliet, we kind of have a line of storms developing here from Morris up to Shanahan and then up there towards Joliet, Illinois. So if you live in Joliet, the southwestern suburbs of Chicago, you have a 60 mile per hour wind gusts and quarter size hail potential over the next 30 minutes. Severe thunderstorm warning there for southeastern Kendall County, northwestern Will County in northeast Illinois until 2:15 this afternoon. The storm's racing to the northeast at 50 miles an hour. Joliet, Naperville, Bolingbrook, Romeoville, that's where the NWS Chicago is. The National Weather Service in Chicago is in Romeoville, Chicago there. And then Plainfield, the Lockport region, New Lenox, Homer Glen, also over to Manuka, Wilmington, Coal City, Shorewood, and towards Rockdale and Fairmont. Some of those areas impacted by this severe thunderstorm warning with that 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and some quarter-size hail. We also have some pretty robust storms moving through Rockford up toward Beloit and Janesville right now. Look at that hail core. Maybe some smaller hail potentially developing there into the Rockford, Illinois region. You can see just west of Rockford, between Winnebago and Rockford there in western Winnebago County, Illinois, we actually do have a little bit of hail ongoing potentially, at least within the storm's updraft, but we definitely could see some smaller hail falling to the ground here with this. If this strengthens, that could definitely lead to some quarter-size hail. We'll have to watch that. Even a little bit of a hail core down here into the Sauk Valley, into Sterling Rock Falls and Dixon, Illinois, right along and north of I-88. We have potentially some smaller hail out of that storm potentially as well. A nice hail core developing right there just to the west of Dixon, Illinois. So we're seeing a lot of action happening across Illinois right now and southern Wisconsin. These are the storms that will mature and will eventually shift east into Michigan, Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky over the next several hours through the afternoon and the evening hours as well. One of those storm cells in northern Illinois is actually right outside my window, folks. I can hear it downpouring out there. And yes, it is. It's definitely downpouring out there. So we've had a lot of rain up here in northern Illinois this spring. I've been mowing the lawn relentlessly. I'll tell you that. It has been relentless. Every single time I mow the lawn, it literally takes 2 days and the grass needs mowed again. So that's the life in northern Illinois, mowing the lawn every 3 days at this point. So can't get a break from the rain. It seems like we get rain every few days here. So I know exactly that we're not going to be in the drought this summer. That's for sure. Ariana, how far in northern Illinois? Right now, it looks like the Rockford, Illinois region, if that's what you're talking about, that storm there could be producing some small hail. We did look at that hail core, a little bit starting to strengthen there. Kind of a little bit of a line of storms trying to develop back there. Keep an eye on it. You graduated from NIU there in DeKalb, huh? Cool. Cool. Where will the moderate risk on Wednesday be? I don't even know if there's going to be a moderate risk on Wednesday. If there were to be one, they would put it probably down there toward the mid-Mississippi Valley and into parts of western Kentucky. But right now, they maintain an enhanced risk for tomorrow. So like if we look at the outlook here for tomorrow, this is tomorrow's outlook. A large enhanced risk stretching from almost Charleston, West Virginia, just west of you. So like the western West Virginia, all the way back into northeastern Texas and eastern Oklahoma. I mean, literally the entire state of Kentucky literally is in an enhanced risk tomorrow. Literally, I would say 95% of the state of Tennessee, the southern half of Indiana, southern half of Illinois, about 50%, about 40 to 50% of Missouri there, central and southern Missouri, about 90% of the state there of Arkansas, including Little Rock, Fort Smith, Fayetteville, and Jonesboro tomorrow on that enhanced risk, including Memphis as well now. Give me 1 second. I think it may be hailing at my house. I don't know what's happening. I'll be right back. It's hailing quarters at my house right now. There's not a warning. It's hailing. I'll be right back, I promise. Okay, well that was interesting. I knew there was a chance of some storms here in my area today, but I did not expect there to be a hailstorm. That is some big hail outside, folks. And honestly, I'm surprised that so if you live in the Rockford, Illinois region, you're probably getting hail right now. Does anybody in the chat in Rockford, Illinois right now? The area of Rockford, Illinois, not necessarily in Rockford, but like from Beloit down to Rockford and getting hail, let me know. Wow. Yeah, I looked out my window and I saw hailstones as big as almost $50. Not kidding. So, yeah. So Brian Anderson, you're getting hail in Rockford, Illinois right now? Like how big is the hail up there roughly? Like if you had to guess, like estimate. Because out my window, there's no severe warning on the storm where I'm living, and there is $quarter to $50 size hail falling out of the sky right now. So that goes to show you that sometimes, even if you aren't under a warning, some things can happen sometimes. So I mean, if I looked at a quarter and I matched it up with one of those hailstones outside, I should have, you know what I should have done? I should have got a hailstone from outside and brought it in to show you. Because it was definitely quarter size. And I should have got a quarter to match it up with that. I think it's mostly melted right now, though. You think I should do it? Let's see. Here, all right. Just give me 1 minute. I'm going to go see if it has melted yet or not. Oh my goodness. I could not get one because they melted so quickly because it's downpouring outside. It's literally downpouring outside, and most of the hailstones that were larger have melted to get a little bit smaller. So they melted. I should have done that when I was out there. I should have done it. Next time, if I get a hailstorm at my house, I will be sure to show you. That was insane. Now I know people that when they say they have like baseball size hail, that it really is really loud on their roof. I mean, that was literally at least marble size hail, like at least, if not quarter to $50 size hail, without a warning. Like, and that falling on the roof there's thunder. So, very loud thunder. And my cats are absolutely scared right now. But, yeah, falling on your roof with quarter to $50 size hail is definitely very loud too. So make no mistake about it. If you have quarter to $50 size hail, that is plenty big hail to do some damage. And actually, I probably should go look at my truck after the live stream when it's done raining. Oh, no hail in East Rockford, huh? Yeah, I'm south of Rockford, but there is like probably an hour away from Rockford, and there was definitely some hail that was at least marble size, if not quarter to $50 size. All right, let's get back into live coverage here, folks. My bad. I apologize for getting off topic. Well, not really off topic, but talking about my hailstorm endeavors, if you will. So now we're back here talking about what you guys could be seeing as well. So you'll see, and look at that. In northern Illinois today, I am currently in a risk zone of a marginal risk in northern Illinois, like right now. And areas east are in an enhanced, and I saw quarter size hail. So that is why we need to be on lookout here for severe weather today. Because if I'm in a marginal risk and I saw legitimately at least marble to quarter size hail or something like that, then areas in the slight and enhanced could definitely see that or much worse today. So that's just kind of the firsthand look at what you guys could be seeing over there. How are we looking for Joliet, Plainfield, and Shorewood area? Joliet, you guys are under a warning still. You guys are in that slight risk right now. Your severe weather threat is literally now. But to update you on the Joliet storm, that hail core in Joliet looks to be moving up into your general location. So same thing, if you're living in Joliet, that storm could be packing a punch with some quarter-size hail, much like I saw outside my house as well. And it looks like, let's look at the hail core on this. Let's look at the storm tops here. We're actually too close to the radar site. I wonder if, you know what? Yeah, look at that hail core coming up towards Channahon, Illinois, and then up there towards Joliet, up the I-80 corridor and I-55. So if you're on the interchange of I-55 and I-80 there, north and east of Channahon, Illinois, and approaching Joliet, Illinois, you're going to probably start to see some quarter size hail, maybe even $50 size hail, as this storm is really starting to pack a punch here. That hail core will be coming right into downtown Joliet over the next probably 10 minutes or so. So if you live there in Joliet, get ready. The hail is moving in here in the next few minutes. Potential hail. Wow. What a week of weather, folks. Tell you that. It's May. Doesn't surprise me the slightest. It is May, but I did not expect that today. Not here in northern Illinois. I didn't expect that. Yeah, I agree with you. I'll take hail over tornadoes. Yeah, for sure. I'll take the hail outside over a tornado. Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you there. Definitely agree. Matt asks about South Bend. Right now, South Bend, Indiana on the radar has nothing happening. But if we look at the HRRR model for what could happen down the road this afternoon, we could be seeing some pretty strong storms for South Bend. So the new 18Z is coming out, so that's good. But the 17Z is loaded in, so we'll use that one. South Bend, Indiana, these storms in northern Illinois will mature as they push east. So make no mistake about it, South Bend, by mid-afternoon, you'll start to be in that threat zone for severe weather. And that will be moving into northern Indiana by about 3 o'clock and be with you in South Bend until about 6, 7 o'clock. So you'll have that 3-4 hour window or so of severe weather potential there in South Bend. We'll keep a close eye on that. That is for sure. That is for sure. Hey folks, if you haven't subscribed here to the channel, Weather on the Go, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. All 1,500 of you, if you are here and have not subscribed to my channel, be sure to do so. We'll be doing live severe weather coverage like this, answering questions, even probably tomorrow as well. And probably even Thursday, because we have a severe weather threat on Thursday, and videos mainly every single day on this channel, folks. We'll be doing that between 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. every day. I do monthly weather outlooks, at the beginning of every month, as long as it's not too active with severe weather, and seasonal outlooks, hurricane, outlooks, all that stuff. So. Thank you so much, Jen B. Yeah, don't forget to hit the like button for Hunter. Yeah, again, my name is Hunter, folks, if you don't know. My name is Hunter here with Weather on the Go, and if you didn't know my first name, now you do. So, I appreciate it. Let me see if we have any storm reports today. So I'm going to go to the storm reports page here. I don't know if we do it yet today or not. We do, actually. Actually, there is one storm report, hail report, actually, luckily enough. There's one hail report coming out of Whiteside County, Illinois there in northwest Illinois for, I'm not sure the hail size, though. It doesn't say. Oh, it does say the size. Quarter-size hail. Okay, there we go. So a quarter-size hailstone in Whiteside County, Illinois here, just southwest of Rockford with those storms moving through. So there we go. There's verification. We had quarter-size hail there in northwest Illinois already this afternoon. We have the sun out right now. Yeah, that's going to make the atmosphere more unstable. That's for sure. When is Spring Arbor, Michigan going to get severe weather today? So let's look at Spring Arbor, Michigan for you real quick. The Spring Arbor area, so you're in southern lower Michigan, you're south of Lansing. So looking at your timing here, looks like about 5 o'clock. And it continues through about 9 o'clock. So 5 to 9 o'clock is pretty much your prime time for severe weather. Again, that could include hailstorms, much like I saw outside my window literally just minutes ago. Tornadoes, and even some damaging winds over 60 miles per hour. So keeping a very close eye on areas south of Lansing between 5 p.m. and 9 p.m. Stephen Andrews asks what about Kenosha, Wisconsin? So the Kenosha area, your threat is now through... I would say late afternoon through about 4 or 5 o'clock. The strongest storms may be moving through and developing south and west of Kenosha toward Rockford right now. Those will be pushing up toward Milwaukee, Racine, and Kenosha, Wisconsin over the next few hours. So I think the strongest of storms will be moving through Kenosha between about 3 and 4 o'clock ultimately. But your main time frame is now through about 4 or 5 o'clock. Winchester, Kentucky. Let's look at Winchester, Kentucky. We haven't talked about that yet, I don't believe. Oh, let's see here. You're east of Lexington, so let's go east of Lexington here. Yeah, your storms will be later in the day. We saw some storms this morning. Looks like mainly your threat will be after dark for the most part, for at least the organized stuff. organized severe weather and supercells. Like, while I can't rule out a storm this afternoon, early evening, I think the best chance of organized severe weather will be closer towards late evening, toward midnight. That's kind of what we're looking at there. We're keeping a close eye on that. Yeah, we got a lot of storm reports coming in now, folks. We got some hail reports coming in from northern Illinois. Some wind reports already today, one in northern Oklahoma, one in eastern Missouri, and one already outside of the Cincinnati area and far southwestern Ohio already today. So that's very interesting. Could you look at northern Illinois for tonight? Yeah, well, tonight, northern Illinois is going to be dry. So after the storms move through in northern Illinois right now, as they are, through like Rockford and stuff like that, the storms will be moving out of northern Illinois as soon as 4 and 5 o'clock tonight. For tonight, there could be more storms, actually. This newest model run showing storms developing up near Platteville, Wisconsin, and Richland Center, moving toward Madison early this evening, but those should stay on the Wisconsin side and move up towards Sheboygan and Milwaukee and through Madison. Illinois should stay mostly dry this evening, and then tonight you can see it's pretty dry. So going into your morning commute there on Wednesday, all you folks there heading off to work, heading off to school there on Wednesday morning should have an A-OK drive there to work or school, because things look pretty dry there across northern Illinois tomorrow morning for the morning commute. Are there more cells popping up in Illinois? Yeah, there are. So like if I go back to the radar here, yeah, there's more storms that are actually popping up right now. There's only one warning here in northern Illinois. That's in the Joliet region, and that warning actually goes in effect for the next 8 minutes before that's allowed to expire. That hail core, let's look again at that for the Joliet region. That hail core is weakened a little bit, which is good, but it's still capable of producing some quarter-size hail back towards Morris and then the Channahon, Illinois area. And it's coming up there towards Joliet, and that will be heading up toward Bolingbrook, Orland Park, and maybe the Tinley Park, Illinois region. And then we have some more smaller hail cores that are sub-severe. These are below severe limits, but maybe some dime-size hail, some marble-size hail, penny-sized hail, stuff like that from Janesville, Beloit, Rockford, all the way down toward Dixon, Illinois. So we'll keep an eye on that. That's basically along the I-39 corridor in northern Illinois there. More storms are developing across the state, mostly in the northern part of the state, but we are seeing some storms developing even into central and southern Illinois as well. These are not severe though, but we're seeing some towering storms just south of Taylorville, around Effingham, to Terre Haute, back to Charleston, and even eastern side of the St. Louis metro area. We are seeing some storms developing, or at least some showers. These could turn into some very big storms later on today as they march east across southern Illinois, as they get into more of an environment ripe for severe weather. So basically, all these storms are not severe in southern Illinois right now, but as these move east, these storms here move east into Indiana there and Ohio, these storms will be capable of becoming tornadic, as they notice the coverage more scattered, so scattered supercells here. We're keeping a very close eye on that for sure. So, what about Columbus, Ohio this evening? So going over here to Columbus, Ohio, we'll go back to the HRRR model and answer your question about the timing of the storms in Columbus this evening. This is the new HRRR model. It's just coming into range there, at least loading in. 15% loaded in at 18Z, so we'll have to go back and use the 17Z run. So Columbus, Ohio, storms moving through mid-afternoon, then a break, and then we start to see more scattered storms. Could be supercells there through about 9 o'clock there tonight. And then I think it really starts to clear out mostly after midnight. Well, you could have a couple showers. I think the most of the severe weather will be between 6 p.m. and about 10 o'clock. So it looks like this evening, pretty bumpy ride there for the Columbus area. Pretty bumpy ride as far as damaging winds, large hail, and tornadoes go. Scattered storms will be moving in and out of the region, potentially producing some, like I said, damaging winds, large hail, and tornadoes scattered about 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. So we'll keep a close eye on that. Akron, Ohio. Akron, Ohio is not going to see any storms too much. There may be some storms moving in late afternoon. Those will be really weakening right over Akron, and then more storms maybe later on this evening after 9 o'clock, so 9 p.m. to midnight. Cleveland down to Akron, Mansfield, and then the Wheeling area, and then those will be heading towards Pittsburgh. Those storms could pack a punch with some hail and wind, maybe an isolated tornado threat. We'll keep a close eye on that. We got a new severe thunderstorm warning here, folks. Let's get to this. New radar. Not new radar, but a new warning on the radar. Strong storm up here into portions of northeastern Winnebago County. This is hugging up against the Wisconsin-Illinois state line. We got a severe thunderstorm warning until 2:30 Central Time for northeastern Winnebago County, northwestern McHenry County, and Boone County in north central Illinois. This storm is moving northeast at 50 miles an hour, capable of 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and quarter-size hail. Areas impacted in this warning are Beloit, Wisconsin, Belvedere, Loves Park, McChesney Park, Roscoe, Harvard, South Beloit in Illinois, Rockton, Poplar Grove, the Candlewick Lake area, Sharon, Capron, and then the Hebron area, Timber Lane, and also Caledonia. So those are some of the areas impacted by that severe thunderstorm warning. That'll be moving over into southeastern Wisconsin. These are the storms that, if we have any friends up there in the chat that are in Kenosha or Milwaukee area, or even Racine, Wisconsin, those storms will be pushing into that environment over the next couple of hours, and they could pose a risk for damaging winds and hail and even a couple isolated tornadoes. So that is what we're keeping an eye on for there. Again, folks, you haven't subscribed here. Again, we're on the road very quickly to 100,000 subscribers. We just surpassed 90,000 today. Thank you to all the new subscribers. We're almost to 90,000, or actually almost to 91,000. We're getting closer. Let's see if we can hit 91,000 subscribers by the end of the live stream here. I really would appreciate that. We're at 90,244 now. We're getting close. Naperville, Illinois. The Naperville region. Not really seeing much there right now. In just 1 second here, I feel like I have to sneeze, and I don't want to sneeze into the mic. I don't want to, blow your eardrums out, so to speak. You gotta love that feeling when you feel like you have to sneeze, and you can't. The Naperville, Illinois region, we have a rain shower right now moving through. The strongest storms are moving to your south and east. Naperville, Illinois, again, you're just seeing some pretty light rain there now. Or nothing too significant for you. No severe weather for you right now. Thank you for the update. Brian Anderson in the chat says pea-size hail in East Rockford, Illinois now. So there you go. You got some pea-size hail there falling in Rockford, Illinois on the eastern side in eastern Winnebago County. So if you live there, you're getting some hail right now, most likely. And that includes the I-39 corridor all the way up to Beloit, the I-39, I-90 corridor, and then over toward Belvedere. And then it looks like the strongest part of the storm is up here in McChesney Park and Poplar Grove, and then heading up toward Harvard. And then that'll be crossing over into Wisconsin. This will be crossing over into areas east of Janesville and Beloit toward Delavan and Elkhorn. And this will also be heading up toward Burlington, Wisconsin with time as well. So heads up in those areas if you are, are outdoors right now, running any errands, that these storms are going to be moving in over the next few minutes. When will the worst hit Central Ohio? We have thunder right now. Central Ohio won't see any really severe weather until later on this afternoon, and really more so this evening. I think that Ohio is mainly going to see storms this evening, to be honest. So let's look here at the timing here. So for Central Ohio, we're looking at timing. Really, we're seeing the weakening part of yesterday's storms moving through. I think today's storms will get going around early evening, and I think the worst of it in central Ohio is between about 7 p.m. and about 10 p.m. So kind of that 3-hour window, if you will, into central Ohio there, 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. time frame. So we'll keep a real close eye on that for you there, our friends over in central Ohio. Timing for Akron. The timing for Akron, again, is looking to be late evening, so we're talking about probably after 10 as it looks now. Give or take an hour. Things could change a little bit over the next few hours, but it looks like after 10 p.m. till about midnight. Pretty brief window there for Akron. Damaging winds, hail, and tornadoes still possible, though. Yep, southeastern Ohio is the same way. Southeastern Ohio, Matt, we're looking at after 9 o'clock. So 9 o'clock till about 3 in the morning. That 6-hour window there. And that would include areas of like the Wheeling area. I know these are in like West Virginia, but like Wheeling, Parkersburg, Chillicothe back there, Canton, those areas, it'll be later this evening that you'll start to see severe weather there in Ohio. All right, we got a new severe thunderstorm warning here that has just been issued by the local National Weather Service here. So let's look at this. Let's go back to the radar. Doing a little bit of both here on this live coverage, talking about severe weather, kind of preparing you for the forecast today, but also some live coverage as well of the radar analysis. We do have a new warning for 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-size hail. This does include Chicago, parts of Chicago, for north-central Will County and southeastern Cook County now until 2:45 this afternoon, Central Time. This storm was located over Homer Glen, Illinois, moving northeast at 55 miles per hour. This includes downtown Chicago, Joliet, Cicero, over to Orland Park, Tinley Park, Oak Lawn, Berwyn, Oak Park, Calumet City, Inglewood, South Shore, Lincoln Park, the Midway Airport area there in Chicago, and also the Burbank area. So if you live in some of those areas I just mentioned, you have the threat for some 60-mile-per-hour winds and some quarter-size hail through 2:45 p.m. Central Time this afternoon. This will be heading up towards Chicago downtown very shortly here. Already seeing some heavier rain moving into Chicago now. The strongest part of the storm just entered areas east of Joliet. So if you live in Orland Park and Tinley Park and then up there toward Oak Lawn, that's where we're going to see the strongest part of the storm over the next little bit here, because these storms are producing some hail. Look at that hail core. It did weaken for a time as it crossed through Joliet there, and then it really started to get strong again, and that hail core looks to be heading up toward Orland Park and Oak Lawn and just to the northwest of Tinley Park. So that's kind of the area we're keeping a close eye on there with that. So sorry, I had to let my cat out real quick. He ran in my room when I went out to look at the hail earlier, outside my window, and he was scared of the hail, which, you know, I get that. It was some bigger hail, some quarter size pretty much. Uh-oh, folks, we got a tornado warning, the first one of the day here. So we are live now, and the good news, we're live for this. We got a new tornado warning here issued from areas in southern and southeastern Wisconsin and extreme northeastern Illinois. So let's look at this here. We have a tornado warning. This is for portions of Delavan, Wisconsin, and up here in towards Walworth and Sharon. So if you live in these areas in extreme southeastern Wisconsin, we have a radar-indicated tornado warning in effect for southern Walworth County and southeastern Rock County in Wisconsin until 2:45 Central Time. This is not on the ground, but it is radar-indicated rotation near Poplar Grove, Illinois, moving northeast into Wisconsin over the state line of Illinois into Wisconsin at 45 miles per hour. Areas in this tornado warning: Delavan, Wisconsin, Lake Geneva, Williams Bay, Walworth, Wisconsin, the Sharon area, Darien, Pell Lake, Como, Allens Grove, and Delavan Lake. So if you live in any of those areas, make sure you are indoors in a basement or you are in the lowest, most interior room away from windows, okay? You want to put as many walls between you and the outdoors as possible. Let's look and see if we have any strong rotation here. Let's look at the velocity, and there would be the tornado potential right there, northwest of Harvard, Illinois. We're going to circle it here on the screen, and this new scan just came in. North and west of Harvard, that's where the rotation. You can see the reds and the green couplets coming right close to each other there, and this is about to enter into southeast Wisconsin right now. So that's what we're seeing. Areas, it looks like it's heading up right into Walworth. So if you live in Walworth, Wisconsin, I want you to take shelter now. If you live in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin, I want you to take shelter now, especially. That's the area of strong rotation. If you're in Sharon, Wisconsin, I want you to be in your safe spot as well. We have a dangerous storm ongoing here, so we'll keep an eye on that. The latest radar scan again, the latest one from last few minutes ago, it was a little bit stronger rotation, again, as it was northwest of Harvard there. It did weaken just a little bit, but we're still concerned as this is moving up towards Walworth. So again, if you were in Walworth, Wisconsin, in Walworth County, Wisconsin, you need to take your safe spot right now in a basement, an interior room, lowest point in your home, because this is a tornado potential that is evolving here with this as it's heading right into the Walworth, Wisconsin area right now. So if you are here, make sure to hit the like button, smash that like button down below, subscribe. The more people that do so, especially press that like button, the more people we're informing about this in southeast of Wisconsin, this ongoing tornado warning. All right, so yeah, we're going to keep an eye on this couplet here real quick and see the next couple of radar scans that are in with this. How do I get my velocity to look like that? I just go down here. This is a Radar Omega app, so if you have the same app on your smartphone or something, you just go down here to where the thing is at the bottom of your screen, and then you just go down to under Velocity Products and press High Res Velocity. And there it is. Where the reds and greens are coming to get together the most is where we're seeing the most rotation. And it's pretty broad right now, so we don't see a tornado on the ground here, but it is radar indicated. It is something we need to take seriously, especially, again, if you live in Sharon, Walworth, and up toward Lake Geneva, you need to be in your safe spot right now, immediately, with the storm. We're going to have to wait on the new radar scans that come in from this. We'll jump back to that here in just a moment. We're going to still answer some questions here. We also got a new severe thunderstorm warning. I think it's new. It's been, okay, yeah, so it's a new severe thunderstorm warning down here into eastern Kentucky. We're going to look at here as well. This is for eastern Kentucky into the Moorhead, Kentucky region. A little bit of a supercell structure to this one. Capable of 60-mile-per-hour winds and some quarter-size hail. This storm is moving slower. It's in central Rowan County and central Elliott County in central Wisconsin or east central Kentucky. This will be in Moorhead around 3:15. So this is already in Moorhead. Wagner in about 4 minutes, 3-4 minutes. Farley, Kentucky in about looks like about 8 minutes, and the Lytton area around 3:30 p.m. Eastern time. So if you're in that area, watch out, move indoors. 60-mile-per-hour winds and some quarter-size hail there. Keep a very close eye on that. All right, let's jump back up here to the tornado warning in Wisconsin. Wow, this is a big storm, folks. This is a big storm. We're starting to see a lot of organization to this storm here. Let's look at the. There's no tornado on the ground now. Otherwise, the correlation coefficient would be picking it up. Yeah, we're definitely seeing some rotation still, pretty broad. It's very weak still. And we're waiting on the new radar scan heading up there towards Walworth. Yeah, it's pretty broad. Again, this is probably right over Walworth right now as we speak, so we're keeping a very close eye on that. It's heading up into Walworth. Okay, there's the new radar scan. It did strengthen maybe just a little, but it's still pretty broad. Let's look here again at the correlation coefficient as it moves into Walworth, and we're not really seeing anything that signals it on the ground here. We're keeping a very close eye on the storm, though, because this is the first tornado warning so far of the day as it moves up there into Walworth. Yeah, I mean, there is rotation. So if you're in Walworth, you need to already be in your safe spot right now, because this storm is definitely producing some pretty strong rotation. We also got a pretty strong hail core with this storm as well. And you can see that, again, the hail core with this is back here to the west, north and west of Sharon, between Clinton, Wisconsin, and Sharon, Wisconsin, and that'll be heading up towards Darien and Delavan. So if you're in Darien, Delavan, that hail core will be moving up into your area there. And looking how tall the storm is, look at just a few minutes ago, like literally a little bit ago, the storm went from literally like 40,000 foot tops to 30,000 foot tops to 42,000 feet in just like 15 minutes. So seeing some pretty tall storms out here. Anything for Memphis? Memphis, Tennessee has a chance for severe weather as we go into Wednesday. So if we're looking at Wednesday's outlook for severe weather there in Memphis, you have an enhanced risk of severe weather in Memphis tomorrow. And this does include the chance for some tornadoes as well on Wednesday in Memphis. We do have a 5% chance of a tornado in Memphis, Tennessee tomorrow. We'll keep a very close eye on this in the Memphis area. The 10% significant tornado risk is just to your north tomorrow, but we'll keep a very close eye on that in Memphis. See if this gets expanded with new outlooks. The newest outlook was at 12:30 this afternoon for tomorrow, for Wednesday. The next newest outlook will be at 1 o'clock in the morning Central Time on Wednesday for tomorrow morning. So that'll be the newest one that we have. That will be the newest one that we have. Yeah, St. Louis for tomorrow, you're in the 10% hatch risk for tornadoes. So I'm concerned about St. Louis tomorrow. We could have some strong tornado potential. You're in the enhanced risk there. The timing, you're asking about the timing of the storms in St. Louis? Yeah, the timing of the storms in the St. Louis region for tomorrow, we're going to have to look at, let me see if the HRRR 18Z model is fully loaded in yet here. So let's see. It only goes so far. So let's go back to 12Z here. I think 12Z will cover tomorrow. I think. We could be wrong here. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. So tomorrow in St. Louis, again, this could look a lot different in like a few hours from now than what it shows now. Here's tomorrow in St. Louis area. 8 in the morning looks pretty dry. Going into tomorrow, we could have a threat for storms coming in around noon, about the same time as today, like right now, as we're speaking, and then more storms firing up in the afternoon. That big line of storms, that's called an MCS, a mesoscale convective system. That'll be crossing through southern Illinois and into portions there of downstate Indiana and also like Kentucky. Most of the state of Kentucky will be impacted tomorrow at some point by probably at least just a general thunderstorm, if not severe weather. So keep a very close eye on that. Okay, so it looks like that tornado warning still radar indicated up there. I still want everybody to be in their safe spot. Let's go back to the radar just real quick, folks, just to update you on this. We still have to, we do have a tornado warning here in southeastern Wisconsin. So we still have a pretty strong storm up here. Let's look at the latest high resolution velocity on this. And it's probably better that we use the radar site further down here. A little bit, it's pretty broad, folks. So the rotation has passed through Walworth, very, very weak rotation. This tornado is not on the ground. So that's some good news. This tornado is certainly not on the ground, but definitely just passed through Walworth, Wisconsin, literally just a couple of minutes ago. And the area of rotation will be pressing up eventually toward Burlington, Wisconsin, in southeast Wisconsin over the next few minutes. So if you live in Burlington, Wisconsin, Lake Geneva, Lyons, you guys are all in line. So Lake Geneva first, then Lyons, then up there toward Burlington. You guys are all kind of outside of the warning. But if you live in that path, then watch out because that rotation will be heading up towards your area. Yeah, we're seeing nothing on the ground right now, so that's some great news. And actually, hopefully, the storm's becoming a little bit more linear. So hopefully, this is mainly going to be producing more hail and damaging winds versus a tornado threat. It looks like it's becoming a little bit more linear now, so that could help it from producing a tornado. Hopefully, it does not produce a tornado. We're still monitoring that storm down into Chicago. Very heavy rain. If you live in Chicago and Cook County, you're going to be seeing some extremely heavy rain over the next probably 15 minutes or so. So that's what we're seeing over there in Chicago. Looks like the hail core with this, sorry about that. The hail core with this is over Oak Lawn. Wow, look at that hail core, folks. There's most certainly going to be, 70 mile an hour winds with this storm, though. So if you live in Chicago, you have the threat for 70 mile per hour winds with this storm as it pushes into the city there of Chicago over the next few minutes or so. Very strong winds into Chicago, and this is literally going to be moving in the strongest part of the storm over Oak Lawn. And next up in line, it will be Burbank, and then up towards Cicero, and then Chicago downtown. So we'll be keeping a close eye on that. We're still monitoring that tornado warning up here in Wisconsin right now. Radar indicated, but also capable of producing a tornado. This is over the Walworth area or near Williams Bay, moving northeast into southeastern Wisconsin at 45 miles an hour. So if you live in Delavan, Lake Geneva, Williams Bay, Walworth, Darien, Sharon, Pell Lake, Como, Allens Grove, and Delavan Lake into Wisconsin, you should all be in your safe spot now. A tornado warning is in effect for the next few minutes or so, for the next 11 minutes in that area. So we're keeping a close eye on that. Yeah, high winds with this. This warning for Chicago is capable of producing 70 mile per hour winds right now. So we got some big wind with these storms, that's for sure. Yeah, if you're new here to the channel, make sure to subscribe down below. We're almost to 91,000 subscribers. I appreciate that. Thanks to all the new subscribers today. Make sure to smash that like button down below. We're almost to 1,300 likes now as well. We got, let's see here, we got almost 1,100 people watching. If all 1,100 of you, in theory, subscribe right now, we'll be at 91,000 subscribers. I appreciate it. Let's see here. Yeah, we got some more storms further south here into like eastern and central Illinois. These storms eventually will start to grow in intensity as they push further to the east. These will cross into Indiana as we go into the afternoon. But these, much like the storms in Chicago, will eventually probably become supercellular as well. Wow, look at that hail core there. Starting to see some blues coming into Chicago. That storm is looking pretty impressive there over Oak Lawn right now. I'm just passing through Oak Lawn, Illinois. Very impressive looking hail signature on this storm. Very healthy looking storm here. Moving into downtown Chicago. So, and this will be crossing over into Lake Michigan very soon too. Yeah, look at that. The strongest part of the storm over there east of Oak Lawn. See all those yellows here? That is some very strong winds. And you can see here the hail core has just passed over Oak Lawn, and it is moving up there toward Burbank and then eventually toward the greater Chicago area, maybe just the southern side of downtown. And then it'll be crossing over southern Lake Michigan after that. Decent hail core further to the north with this tornado warning as well. We're still watching a tornado possible with this, but a decent hail core moving up toward Delavan and Elkhorn with time. And then we have a new severe thunderstorm warning now issued for northeast Illinois for Harvard and for Wonder Lake, Alden, Heartland, and just up to the Genoa City, Wisconsin region. So this is for 60-mile-per-hour wind with this storm until 3:15 this afternoon for northern McHenry County. So if you live in Fox Lake, Harvard, Johnsburg, Spring Grove, Wonder Lake, the Richmond, Hebron area, Ringwood, and Greenwood, you guys are all impacted by the 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and nickel-size hail. This is becoming a little bit more linear here, but this is definitely a pretty strong storm, and this will actually be moving, this entire kind of bow echo, if you will be moving towards Racine and Kenosha, Wisconsin, even Milwaukee area, especially the southern side of Milwaukee as it continues to press off to the east-northeast over the next little bit here. So we'll keep a close eye on that. Thank you, Hooray for Kate, for the $9.99. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for your generosity. I appreciate it. Can I look at Gurnee, Illinois? I forget where Gurnee, Illinois is. Gurney's way over here, north of Chicago. So you may get some storms here over the next few minutes or so, probably to your west, but I think Gurney's probably not going to see any big storms anytime soon. So I think the strongest part, at least right now with this storm up in southern Wisconsin, most of this back here will actually propagate towards Racine and Kenosha and Milwaukee. I think this will stay north of you and up from Gurnee, but I think if this starts to back build further south toward Marengo, toward DeKalb, Illinois, and that moves east, then we could start seeing more storms move in toward Gurnee here very soon. But we'll keep a close eye on that for sure. Let's see here. Yeah, I just looked at Gurnee. Gurnee could see some storms potentially in about an hour or so. If these storms continue to back build back in towards the I-88 corridor or I-90 there in Illinois, further south towards Marengo and like Rochelle, DeKalb, then these storms would be pressing towards the Gurnee, Waukegan, and Evanston region. But we've had some back building and some hail too, even outside my house a little bit ago. But that tornado threat is going to probably be maximizing there into southeastern Wisconsin over the next little while. And we have a new, look at that storm, folks. If you live in Chicago, you're getting some very heavy rain at the very least right now. Hail core on the southern side of the metro, Look at that hail core there, just to the south of Chicago downtown. And this is down into the southern side of Chicago, into, say, Hyde Park, Woodlawn, the Cornell area, South Shore, Calumet Heights, just the southern part of Chicago there. So that's what we're seeing with that. And that hail core will eventually be crossing over into southern Lake Michigan very soon. So I don't think the strongest part of the storm is going to cross into downtown Chicago. I think it's just south of Chicago, or the southern side of the city is probably going to get hit stronger than the northern side. I think the northern side of Chicago is going to see, and I'm talking about the northern side of like downtown Chicago, is going to see the less severe side of the storm. You may see a quick downpour or two and some pretty strong lightning and thunder, but other than that, I think the strongest part is down there. And then we got a little bit of a piece here of far northwestern Indiana into the Hammond area, Hammond, and just northwest of Gary, Indiana, that has that warning for 60-mile-per-hour wind. All right, so it looks like they're going to allow that tornado warning to expire in 4 minutes in southeastern Wisconsin, and they have switched that over now to a severe thunderstorm warning for those of us up here in Elkhorn, Burlington, Wisconsin, Troy, Spring Prairie, Lyons, Waterford, and Rochester, Wisconsin. Those areas that I just called out, 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-size hail. This is for central Walworth County and northwestern Racine County in Wisconsin. This storm's capable, again, 60-mile-an-hour winds and quarter-size hail. So that is in effect here for the next 30 minutes or so, until about 3:15 this afternoon. If you're in southern Wisconsin, like back into Janesville, Beloit, your threat for severe weather is essentially over for the most part today. I think the strongest weather is just to your east. If you're west of this black line, you're fine. So if you're in like Platteville, back into Janesville, Beloit, Madison eventually here in the next few minutes, you guys will be fine. There should be fine the rest of the day. There may be a few more storms firing up later on, but other than that, the more organized severe weather potential should be ending rather soon for that area. And it looks like that warning down here in Kentucky has been allowed to expire, so that's some good news. Wow, Chicago's getting hit on the south side of the city there pretty hard with the heavy rain and the 60-mile-an-hour winds, quarter-size hail. Anybody in the chat from Chicago right now, the south side of Chicago, that is, or like that recently saw this storm move through, like Oak Lawn, Illinois, Orland Park area? If you're in the chat, let me know, because what are you seeing out there? What about Portage, Indiana? The Portage, Indiana area, you got a storm, the strongest storms to your north. That's going to go over Lake Michigan. You'll be fine with that. We got a little bit of a storm developing to your south and west. We'll have to watch that. That may go just south of Portage toward Morillville and Valparaiso, and then up toward LaPorte. And then maybe some more storms developing back towards Illinois here on I-55 and I-57 corridor, from Joliet down to Coal City, Morris, and then down to Pontiac and Fairbury. Those will be heading east towards Kankakee, Watseka, and maybe up there towards the Portage area with time. But you're still firmly in the warm sector. If you're in Portage, Indiana right now, you still have the threat for severe weather this afternoon. You're in Darien, Wisconsin? What are you seeing there in Darien, Wisconsin? Where's Darien at? Let's see here. Yeah, Darien, Wisconsin should have just had a pretty strong... you're in that tornado warning still for the next minute. And then that storm will be moving away. You should still be seeing rain right now, some moderate rain, light to moderate rain, and you should have just saw a very heavy downpour recently into Darien, Wisconsin region. Daniel, Omaha, Nebraska. Cool, thanks for joining. Davin, thanks for joining from Eastern Tennessee. Happy Tuesday to you. What about Carbondale, Illinois? You're in a risk zone for severe weather. You could have some storms later on, but I don't see them being that widespread, probably. I think, here, let me go back to the HRRR model here. The 18Z HRRR just loaded in, so we'll look at that here real quick. So, yeah, see, like, the coverage of storms down into the Carbondale area here in southern Illinois, very limited. I mean, we're talking maybe a storm or two. The storms down there are not very widespread. So if you see one storm, you may see a 60-mile-an-hour wind gust, a tornado, or quarter-size hail today. Other than that, the more organized, widespread activity will be just to your east, towards Evansville, Louisville, and up towards Cincinnati, and then, like, east towards Lexington and Richmond, Kentucky. We only need 54 more people to subscribe, and we'll be at 90,400. I appreciate it. If we can hit 90,400 before the end of the live stream, that would be awesome. So thank you guys so much for that. I'll answer a few more questions, and then I think I got to go eat some lunch here. We've been live for 3 hours and 10 minutes now. So, and I even did a video this morning for you folks, so I have to go eat. I haven't really ate much today. Thank you for subscribing. I appreciate it. The Twin Lakes area there in Wisconsin. So let's look here at Twin Lakes. Twin Lakes, Wisconsin. The Twin Lakes area, you're going to get hit by some severe storms. Literally, I think you have a warning, don't you? Let's see. Twin Lakes, you're like right in between two severe thunderstorm warnings. You may, if this warning continues to, if this storm, let's go back to the radar real quick. If this storm continues to move to the east, which it likely will, Twin Lakes, you're going to see a thunderstorm literally within the next probably 15 to 20 minutes. And maybe some 60-mile-per-hour winds. You got the strong part of the storm moving toward your area there, and maybe a little bit of hail as well. So Twin Lakes, if we time this out, I'm trying to see how fast this is moving here. Northeast at 35 miles per hour. So let's look at the leading edge of this and kind of time this out for you. So it's like 9 miles away from you. So you're probably seeing some darkening skies to your west at the very least. In the Twin Lakes area there, you're going to see the storm in about, I was about right, 14, 15 minutes. So your storm will be moving in about 14, 15 minutes. 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and some quarter-size hail will be the main risk from those storms as they move in there. We are currently 43 people away from 90,400. Only need 43 more subscribers to get to the next goal for today. I appreciate that. Anything in Yorkville? Yorkville's further south here into... where's Yorkville at? I think I've seen Yorkville before. Here, let me see. Yorkville's in Northeast Illinois, I know that. But I can't find it on the map. Okay, so Yorkville's south and west of Naperville. There's Yorkville. Yeah, Yorkville's not seeing anything right now. I don't really actually expect you to see really anything. Most of the storms that press to your east, move to your east, so we're probably not going to see much of anything. Maybe an isolated storm to go around through the rest of today. Other than that, I think your severe threat is actually dwindling every minute that goes by here. So I think your threat for severe weather continues to drop each minute, each hour that goes by in Yorkville. So we have a little bit of a shower to your south and west. We'll see what happens with that as that moves to the north and east, but that's very small right now. It would have to really develop quickly down here towards Sandwich, Millington, and Oswego for it to really do anything meaningful for Yorkville. And I don't see that right now. So we got a new severe thunderstorm warning. And by the way, tornado warnings are done with here so far in Wisconsin. So that's good. Yeah, we got a new severe thunderstorm warning here. This is for West Bend, Belgium, Port Washington, and almost to the Sheboygan, Wisconsin region. This is actually not for wind. It's for 1-inch quarter-size hail. So we have that for until 3:30 for quarter-size hail there, located near Newburgh or near Saukville, Wisconsin, moving northeast at 45 miles an hour. Again, West Bend, Grafton, Cedarburg, Port Washington, the Belgium area, Germantown, Saukville, Cedar Grove, Newburgh, Cascade, Adel, also Waldo, Beechwood, and Fillmore, Wisconsin. All you guys are impacted by the storm. 50-mile-per-hour winds and some quarter-size hail are going to impact your area here over the next 30 to 40 minutes there as that moves up to the north and east, eventually towards Sheboygan. And I think that may actually cross over into Lake Michigan after that. All right, so we're seeing that right now. So, what time will the second round of storms hit northern Illinois? I don't know really if there's going to be much of a second round there after the rain-cooled air moved through here in northern Illinois. I think the threat for severe weather could start to increase for more of Michigan and like Indiana and like eastern Wisconsin over the next few hours. For northern Illinois, I think you're pretty quiet. You outside of an isolated storm or two, I really do think that most of northern Illinois should be rain-free through the rest of today, outside of areas maybe up toward Rockford, up toward the Illinois-Wisconsin state line. That's pretty much the area where I expect maybe a couple more isolated storms. Other than that, I think most of northern Illinois will be dry the rest of the day. Well, northern Indiana is going to get some pretty strong storms later here over the next few hours, literally from right now through about like 6 o'clock. So if you live in like South Bend, Fort Wayne, Portage, Gary, Indiana, down to Lafayette, Terre Haute, Fishers, Muncie, Indianapolis, all you folks up here, you still need to be on high alert. You're right in the middle of that enhanced risk. So it's still going to take a little while for storms to get going, but I think we do start to see some pretty strong storms developing pretty soon with these storms. We're 28 subscribers away, folks, from our goal. We're at 90,372. So if we can hit 90,400 today before the live stream's over here in a few minutes, that would be awesome. Thank you so much. Again, I really do appreciate each and every one of you folks for subscribing to the channel, for watching my videos, for watching my live streams, interacting. I appreciate that. Pressing the like button, donating, just being awesome audience. I really appreciate it. Thank you. I appreciate each and every one of you here. Thanks, Stephanie, for subscribing. Thank you, Hooray for Kate. Again, thank you so much for your donation earlier on. Appreciate that. Thank you, everybody who has donated today as well. Thank you for Snowy's photography for modding the chat. I really appreciate you as well. Thank you to Lindsay for subscribing. Again, we'll have another weather forecast video tomorrow between 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. That's what we do every single morning for the most part. Those videos will come out between 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. I only take a couple days off a year, really, so we do videos other than that pretty much every day. So we got a new severe thunderstorm warning for northwest Indiana. This does include Portage, so there we go. We got a couple people from Portage, Wisconsin. There is a Portage, Wisconsin, I think, but Portage, Indiana here. So Gary, Murrayville, up to Michigan City, and then the Portage area and Valparaiso, you guys are included in 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-size hail here. So this is for northern Porter County in Indiana and northeastern Lake County in northwest Indiana here for 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-size hail. So Gary, Portage, over toward the Murrayville, Valparaiso area, Hobart, Crown Point, Chesterton, Lake Station, Porter, the Town of Pines area, Beverly Shores, Wheeler, and Dune Acres. All you guys are impacted by this storm. And let's turn on the radar site here so we can see what we're working with here. The strongest part of the storm is just over Murrayville, and that'll be heading up toward Portage and toward Gary, or sorry, just east of Gary, Indiana here. So this will be heading up towards Portage and then toward Michigan City over the next several minutes. So if you guys live there, make sure to, move indoors to a safe spot and away from windows. Yeah, Anthony. Yeah, tomorrow's risk, Anthony, could get higher. We could see an upgrade to a moderate risk tomorrow potentially. They did keep it a enhanced risk for tomorrow. So let's look again before we go off from live. But let's look here. So the rest of today. So here's the rest of today. We have the enhanced risk of severe weather for most, like 95% of the state there of Indiana, west central Ohio, into northern Kentucky here. So like Fort Wayne to Indianapolis, Dayton to Columbus, down to Cincinnati, Louisville, and Lexington, Richmond area. You have an enhanced risk of severe weather, slight and marginal surrounding that in a lot of big cities. And then going into tomorrow's threat for severe weather, we have a large area with an enhanced risk of severe weather stretching literally for the entire state of Kentucky, back into western Virginia, western West Virginia, southern Indiana, southern Illinois, most of the state of Tennessee, like 95% of Tennessee there, including Nashville and Memphis, Clarksville, Knoxville, and Jackson, Tennessee. That stretches back into Missouri, so Springfield to St. Louis, back to Cape Girardeau, back into the Little Rock area, Jonesboro, into Memphis, like I mentioned, into Fayetteville and Fort Smith, back here into eastern Oklahoma and into northeast Texas as well. So areas down here toward Texarkana and Paris, Texas, you are also in a enhanced risk of severe weather on Wednesday. And this could include a tornado outbreak once again tomorrow. So we do have a 10% hatched risk of tornadoes stretching from the lower Missouri Valley into the foothills region, down here into southern Illinois, southern Indiana, into west central Kentucky, and middle and northwestern, and even parts of eastern Tennessee, with that 10% risk of strong, long track tornadoes for the day there on Wednesday. Yeah, we're only 15 subscribers away from our goal now, so if all 798 of you subscribed, or 800 now that are here, then we'll be at our goal. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Again, I really appreciate everybody subscribing. We're going to go live likely tomorrow morning as well after my video. So late morning, early afternoon, be looking out for another live stream tomorrow. Again, I have to go eat lunch here in just a few minutes. I appreciate everybody being here. We've been here for almost 3.5 hours today, so we spent a lot of quality time here. If you guys have any more questions, literally any questions about the weather, any questions about today's severe weather outbreak, tomorrow's severe weather outbreak, or Thursday's severe weather outbreak, make sure after the live stream is over that you do ask your question. I will answer each and every one of you. I really appreciate everybody asking their questions, because that way I get to inform you of what is to come, so you are aware of what is happening later this week. And again, replay crew, make sure to like the live stream down below, subscribe to the channel, and again, thank you all for being here, and we're going to be wrapping up here in just a minute or two. Yeah, we're 5 people away now, so. Eastern Tennessee, like I said yesterday in Eastern Tennessee, we're not really, like, if we look at Eastern Tennessee, the timing of the storms today and tomorrow, so like we're going back here to the 18Z run here. So For today in eastern Tennessee, we're not really seeing a whole lot until probably later on in the day. So like we're talking this evening. And then after dark, we see a lot of rain moving through. This could actually lead to a flash flooding risk across middle and eastern Tennessee, as we have a lot of hilly terrain through here. So some runoff from heavy rain from Nashville eastward towards Knoxville and Gatlinburg and Crossville and even Chattanooga, some of these areas that have a lot of hilly terrain. As these storms kind of move over the same areas through the overnight hours and early Wednesday, then we'll have another wave of storms moving over, and then a big complex of storms moves through tomorrow. This will be late in the evening. This could be a strong line of storms well after midnight, Wednesday night into early Thursday. This is 2 o'clock in the morning. We may be live for this. We'll have to wait and see. I may be live later tomorrow evening for this. We'll have to see how that works out, but yeah, so we got a lot of severe weather going on here. So Mother Nature is definitely wanting to tell us that severe weather season is here, and it definitely is. We got a lot of severe weather. It's May still, folks. It's May 7th today. We got a long ways to go through severe weather season. We are now in the heart of severe weather season, the peak season now. But we still have a lot of weeks to go here in May. June is likely to be active this year. July can be active, especially in the Midwest, the upper Midwest and Great Lakes, with derecho season starting as well. Sometimes May brings those. We haven't seen derechos yet this year. And if you don't know what a derecho is, it's a very intense, fast-moving line of storms that produces hurricane-force wind gusts, sometimes over 100 miles per hour without tornadoes, just straight-line winds. But derechos can carry the threat for tornadoes, and sometimes we'll see those during the summer on the outer edge of heat waves. We could see that again in June and July this year. We'll keep you updated. Yeah, Waukegan, Illinois, Ariana. Yep, tornado watch till 8 o'clock Central Time, so be watching out for that. That means conditions are favorable for the threat for tornadoes. And again, we have 4 severe thunderstorm warnings right now, and I imagine that as we go through the day, severe weather is going to light up the radar. So make sure, again, if you are all across the Ohio River Valley, the Midwest, the Great Lakes, or even the Tennessee Valley, anywhere that has a risk today for severe weather, please be safe out there. Make smart choices, okay? If there's a tornado warning, go to the lowest, most interior room, and if you, even better to go down to a basement. But if you don't have a basement, lowest, most interior room away from windows. Put as many walls between you and the outdoors as possible. And even if you aren't under severe weather and you see a thunderstorm, move indoors. Like the saying goes, when thunder roars, go indoors, okay? You know, even general garden variety thunderstorms can be dangerous with lightning out there. So we don't want anybody to get hurt, anything like that. We don't want any injuries or anything like that. So just make sure when thunder roars, go indoors. For most of Michigan, it's dinner time and then into the evening hours. That's what we're looking at for timing in the central Michigan and southern lower Michigan. Basically, late afternoon into the evening hours, and storms leaving by about midnight for the most part. Western Tennessee, your threat for severe weather in Western Tennessee is really on Wednesday. I mean, that's pretty much what we're seeing. The main threat up here today is Indiana, Ohio, and northern Kentucky. The main threat Wednesday is in Tennessee. So, I mean, that's what we're seeing. And really, I mean, a lot of states are impacted by tomorrow. Could be another large-scale tornado outbreak. So, all right, folks, thank you for watching. Have a great, safe rest of your Tuesday out there. Thanks for joining me for these 3.5 hours that we have been live. I really appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel. Like the video, like my live stream. I'll have another video tomorrow morning for you folks. Be looking out for that here on this channel, Weather on the Go. And I'll also have a video on my second channel. It's pinned at the top of the chat. If you want to go subscribe to that one, it's North Central Weather Center. I have a video for the North Central U.S. Weather forecast tomorrow as well. All right, and we'll go live tomorrow, likely to answer more questions and for more radar analysis and stuff like that. All right. Thank you to Adam. Thanks for joining. And Katz, thanks for joining, as well as Casey, Robin, Jeff, thanks for joining. Pat O'Connor, Davin, thanks for joining. Have a good rest of your day, everybody. Stay safe. go get some lunch. If you haven't ate lunch already, I'm going to get some lunch myself. So I'm hungry. I haven't ate anything. So go get some lunch. Be weather aware today. Stay safe. All right. Goodbye, everybody.